Chapter 658. Yang Jianan heaved a sigh of relief when he saw the medicine being injected into his body. Fortunately, Xiao Qin did not continue fighting. Otherwise, his strength would soon drop to the first level of a martial master. To maintain the strength of a 10th level martial master, he had to inject the fire wolf reagent that Elder Shishan had given him. Only then could he instantly increase his strength. Fortunately, no one had discovered this secret. Although this strength had its drawbacks, Yang Jianan was not afraid. In the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, there were very few opportunities to fight with people. It was enough as long as he displayed the strength of a 10th level martial master. He had already made plans for his strong return. His target was the deputy director of Team C of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. He heard that Xia Zhili was already in charge of Team B. The new deputy director of Team C was only at the 8th level martial master, so Yang Jianan planned to replace him. He believed that as long as his strength was known and he planned to fight for this position, the previous deputy director would definitely back down. After all, promotion in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau required two things: strength and contribution. Yang Jianan picked up Xiao Chen's previous credit for no reason. Although everyone knew that the previous Yang Jianan was fake, it didn't matter. Because the current Yang Jianan was very powerful, no one would dare to say a word against him. Even Song Bilian, who Yang Jianan had wanted to rely on through Song Huawu, was no longer in his eyes. They were only of the same strength. In the future they would be on equal footing. As for Xia Zhili, Yang Jianan did not care much about him now. The two of them had only cooperated previously. Now he wanted to establish himself. Thinking of his bright future, the haze in Yang Jianan's heart was swept away. The unhappiness caused by the kidney transplant and the injection of the reagent to gain strength also dissipated at this moment. Even if the strength was fake, so what? No one would find out that it was real. Song Huawu was sent to the hospital. Along the way, Song Bilian's expression was very gloomy. He looked at Xia Zhili, who had also rushed over, and said coldly, "Look at what your people have done. If anything happens to Huawu this time, you will all die with her." Xia Zhili's expression was also very ugly. Naturally, he knew that Song Huawu and Song Bilian had an unknown relationship. However, he did not expect Yang Jianan to be so bold as to even dare to hit Song Huawu. Most importantly, Yang Jianan was already at the peak of the 10th level martial master? How was this possible? How did he advance so quickly? Or could it be that he had been hiding his strength all along? My men, do you think Yang Jianan will listen to me now? Xia Zhili glanced at Song Bilian and said indifferently, "He's already a martial master at the peak of the 10th layer. Do you think he'll be at ease being the deputy team leader of Team B?" This. Song Bilian was stunned. He hadn't considered this before, but now that Xia Zhili mentioned it, he suddenly realized that Yang Jianan's strength was not below his. Song Huawu was pushed into the emergency room, while Song Bilian waited anxiously. Xia Zhili walked around and saw that there was nothing else for him to do, so he went back. Until now, Yang Jianan had not taken the initiative to call him to report, which made Xia Zhili very unhappy. Motherf **Ker, he wasn't even as good as the Xiao Qin of the past. He couldn't do anything, and as soon as he came back, he would cause trouble. He was simply a troublemaker. Although Xia Zhili had already guessed that Yang Jianan was planning to set up his own team, at least in everyone's eyes, he was still one of them. Xia Zhili still had to take responsibility for the things he caused. How **King frustrating. After returning to the office, Xia Zhili walked into the secret room where he usually cultivated. He took out the extraterrestrial ink meteorite, and his expression became extremely complicated. In the hospital, Song Huawu's surgery continued while Song Bilian was resting in a lounge. Suddenly, the lounge window moved, and a figure appeared in front of Song Bilian. Song Bilian was a martial master at the peak of the 10th layer, after all. At this moment he was shocked. "Who is it? Song Bilian, have you forgotten yourself all these years?" The voice of the man in black was very cold, without a trace of emotion, as if it came from hell. Song Bilian was shocked. He hadn't heard this voice for many years. He was so shocked that his whole body trembled, and he quickly stood up from the recliner. "Second young master. You still know that I'm the second young master? How have you taken care of Huawu all these years?" As the man in black said this, his aura suddenly soared into the sky. With just a slight movement of his leg, Song Bilian's whole body was directly sent flying, and he violently slammed into the wall of the lounge. Even though he used all his strength to resist, the strength of a martial master at the peak of the 10th layer seemed to be nothing in the eyes of the man in black. He was just an existence that could be easily killed. Song Billion went limp on the ground, and he vomited a mouthful of blood. You still dare to resist with your chi? Song Billion, are you done? When I put you in the position of Deputy Director of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, do you know what you should do? The man in black stared coldly at Song Billion, causing him to involuntarily shiver. I know. Song Billion lowered his head, not daring to look directly at the man in black in front of him. You know? I think you've already forgotten. Do you think that after not appearing for so many years, I've already forgotten this half-sister of mine? The man in black looked at Song Billion mockingly. Do you think that because Huawu wasn't recognized by the Song family, you cannot treat her like a big missy? Song Billion was speechless. What about you? You're just a dog of the Song family. The man in black waved his palm, and Song Billion was sent flying. Once again he landed heavily on the wall, leaving a bright red mark on the wall. Do you think that if you tell my grandfather about this, the Song family will blame me for secretly sending people to protect Huawu? The man in black said condescendingly, do you think that by protecting Huawu you have something on me? That I wouldn't dare to do anything to you? Actually, Song Billion did have such a thought. He was originally a follower of the Song family's second young master. He was sent out on a secret mission by the second young master to protect his half-sister in the secular world. This kind of bloodline was basically not recognized by the Song family. Therefore, after Song Billion came into contact with the outside world, he began to have his own thoughts. In his opinion, the Song family would not recognize Song Huawu, so he would stay in the secular world for the rest of his life. If that was the case, why didn't he use the Song family's power and control of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau for his own benefit? The reason why he had always wanted to facilitate Pang Fingda and Song Huawu's marriage was because he wanted Pang Fingda to use Song Huawu's relationship with the Song family. In the future he would continue to hold a high position in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Why did he help Pang Fingda so much? Song Billion's surname wasn't originally Song. He was second young Master Song's follower, so he changed his surname. His real name was Pang Billion. And Pang Fingda was his illegitimate child. Although Pang Fingda didn't know this secret, it wasn't much of a secret to the Song family. Even if the Song family knew, they wouldn't say anything. As long as Pang Fingda treated Huawu well, second young Master Song wouldn't dare to say anything. If the Song family found out that second young Master Song had secretly made decisions for the Song family, he would be severely punished. That was why he was so unscrupulous. Hee, do you think that I don't have much say in this life because I'm second young master? The man in black sneered at Song Billion. Song Billion didn't say it out loud, but in fact he really thought so. Unfortunately, I have to tell you that starting from the new year, Grandfather has already asked me to manage the Song family's businesses in the secular world. And I'm in charge of contacting the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, the man in black said calmly. Song Billion was shocked. He didn't expect second young Master Song to be entrusted with such an important task. Although managing the businesses in the secular world and managing the affairs of the martial arts world were worlds apart, from now on, even if second young Master Song wasn't the next head of the family, he would still be an elder. It would be a piece of cake for him to kill Song Billion. You're still useful now, so I won't kill you. It depends on your performance in the future. As the man in black spoke, he took out a small box from his pocket and placed it on the table. Don't think about making decisions for the Song family in the future. You're just a dog. Remember your place. Yes. Song Billion knelt on the ground and hurriedly kowtowed to admit his mistake. I was wrong, second young master. I'm just a dog. Please don't bother with a dog. This is a small rejuvenation pill. Give it to Huawu and her life won't be in danger. If there are any other problems, wait until I officially take office after the new year, then I'll think of a way to arrange a better pill. The man in black said. The small rejuvenation pill was already the limit of what he could get. Although he was in charge of the family's affairs, he was very clear that the affairs of the secular world and the martial arts world couldn't be mentioned in the same breath. Business in the secular world was just about money. It was really too difficult to get top-notch pills. Even the small rejuvenation pill in his hand was a family reward that he had kept for many years. Yes. Song Billion was shocked. He knew about the small rejuvenation pill. Second young Master Song could casually take one out now, so one could imagine the status of the family. It seemed that he had been blinded by the benefits. If he had always followed second young Master Song and done his best to take care of Song Huawu, would his status have risen as well? Second young Master Song would soon be in charge of the Song family's affairs in the secular world. And could he also take up an errand? Thinking about it made him feel a little regretful. He had missed a good opportunity for nothing. After all, second young Master Song couldn't keep running to the secular world. When that time came, he would have to help manage the business in the secular world. That would be a really rich errand. One wrong step led to many wrong steps. Now, if he wanted to redeem himself, he could only rely on his performance and second young Master Song's mood. Chapter 659. The Man in Black Left Without a Trace. Song Billion quickly grabbed the small rejuvenation pill and ran to the hospital's operating room. After a long while, Song Billion recovered from the shock. He quickly grabbed the small box on the table, rushed out of the lounge and ran to the operating room. "How is it?" Song Billion found a doctor and asked. "This." The doctor was hesitant. "How is it?" Song Billion said angrily. He knew that if anything happened to Song Huawu, he would not have a good time. In the past he thought it was too simple. He thought that this was a matter of coercion. He never thought that the second young master had grown up and was in power. Most importantly, he had the strength of a martial arts master at the peak of the 10th level. In front of the second young master, there was no room for resistance. The injury is very serious. Although the bullet has been removed, it is not out of danger yet. The doctor sighed and said, "She is now in the intensive care unit. It is hard to say if she can make it through." "What?" Song Billion was shocked. He grabbed the doctor's hand and said, "Where is she? Take me there." The intensive care unit cannot let anyone enter." The doctor was hesitant. "This is an order. You should know who we are," Song Billion said resolutely. "Okay." The doctor had no choice but to nod and bring Song Billion to Song Huawu's ward. At this moment, Song Huawu's face was pale without a trace of blood. Song Billion only used her as a medium for him and his son to rise to power. He didn't expect that the second young master, who was far away in the martial arts world, would know everything that happened here. Could it be that the second young master had a trusted aide in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau? Thinking of this, Song Billion broke out in a cold sweat. The second young master could stand out among the many collateral relatives of the Song family. It was enough to show that he was not simple. Why didn't I see it in the beginning? At first, I thought that it was good enough for a collateral son to take care of himself. Why would he care about a half-sister? He really had nothing better to do. However, he didn't expect that the second young master, a collateral young master, could monopolize the power of the Song family in the secular world. It was incredible. However, all of this was meaningless. The only thing he had to do now was to protect Song Huawu. Otherwise he would die miserably. He carefully took out the pill from the box and placed it into Song Huawu's mouth. The pill melted in her mouth so she didn't need to drink any water. "All right, don't let anyone disturb her," Song Billion told the doctor. "Yes." Although the doctor didn't know what kind of elixir Song Billion gave Song Huawu, he didn't dare to ask. He quickly nodded. Xiaoqun left the hotel, but he didn't go far. He was worried about Song Huawu's condition, but he didn't dare to show his face. When he saw Song Huawu being sent to the ambulance, he felt a little relieved. How could Yang Jianan be so powerful? It was so high that he found it hard to believe. "Elder Heaven Ancestor, what's going on with Yang Jianan?" asked Xiaoqun. "He doesn't seem to be afraid of the 9 hells hellfire. The aura on his body is very similar to that of an Luochen, but the evil aura is stronger. He should be a heretical cultivator." Elder Heaven Ancestor said, "He's not afraid of the 9 hells hellfire. I feel like an Luochen isn't afraid of the Samadhi true fire. This person is special. He actually became a heretical cultivator?" Xiaoqun was surprised. Did this guy have a fortuitous encounter after jumping off the cliff? I'm a little confused now. Am I the main character or is he the main character? Elder Heaven Ancestor was a little speechless. Who knows? I stayed under the cliff for so many years, but I didn't have any fortuitous encounters. Other than some medicinal herbs, there was nothing else. Could it be that he can cultivate after eating medicinal herbs? Forget it, let's not care about him. Xiaoqun shook his head and said, "Elder Heaven Ancestor, I've been busy and haven't asked you about the special ability of the Foundation Establishment stage." The Foundation Establishment stage. You're now at the first level of the Foundation Establishment stage. The main difference between you and the Qi Refinement stage is that you can use magic tools. One is flying on a sword and the other is using magic tools to fight. Elder Heaven Ancestor said, "There's another obvious difference. Now that you have the 9 hells hellfire, you can refine some medicinal pills and simple magic tools. In that case, should I refine a flying sword first? Xiao Qin was a little tempted. He thought about how wonderful it would be to be able to fly in the sky. Yes, but you can't find good materials. You can buy a broken sword from a handicraft shop and make do with it. Elder Heaven Ancestor reminded him, you're in the secular world now. Do you think you're in the cultivation world? It's not that easy to find materials for refining weapons. That's true. Xiao Qin nodded and changed his appearance. He turned himself into a middle-aged man and walked on the street openly. After finding a handicraft shop, Xiao Qin walked in. Sir, what do you want to buy? Do you want to give it to someone or use it yourself? The shop assistant saw Xiao Qin and came over to ask. I want to buy a sword and go to the park to exercise in the morning, Xiao Qin said. His current appearance was in line with the appearance of a middle-aged uncle. The shop assistant didn't have any doubts. They're all here. Take a look and choose. The shop assistant brought Xiao Qin to the weapon handicraft shelves. There were long spears, long swords, long knives and other fitness equipment. Of course, they could also be used as handicraft and hung on the wall. Xiao Qin looked at them and chose. He picked up a slightly more suitable long sword and said, I'll take this. Okay, sir. This is 200 yuan. The shop assistant said. Xiao Qin didn't bargain. He directly took out the money and paid. He turned around and left. He didn't have time to talk about the 30 and 50 yuan. The most important thing now was to find a place to refine it. Not far from the roadside there was a small hotel. Xiao Qin walked in and asked for a room. Sir, you need to register. The proprietress looked at Xiao Qin and said, Can I not register? I carried my wife out. Then Xiao Qin gave the proprietress a knowing look. Okay. Add 100 yuan to the room. You know I'm taking a risk. The proprietress said directly. Xiao Qin didn't say anything. He took out the money and put it on the counter. He took the key and went upstairs. Another one playing with extramarital affairs. Hee. The proprietress picked up the money on the counter and happily put it away. If you want to turn an ordinary long sword into an artifact, you must use the underworld fire to forge it and then integrate your own divine sense into it. Only then can you control it like a fish in the water. Elder Heaven Ancestor, how do I start refining? Xiao Qin asked after closing the door. This. Elder Heaven Ancestor looked at the broken sword in Xiao Qin's hand and said, This is more troublesome to refine. You are still a novice. A 200 yuan broken sword is also so troublesome? Xiao Qin was stunned. It's the 200 yuan sword that's troublesome. The material of this broken sword is too poor. If you don't fix it properly, it will become a waste. You must be very careful and precise in controlling the fire and temperature. Elder Heaven Ancestor said with some speechlessness, Can't you buy a more expensive one? At least the kind that is used for competitions. That can't be bought in a short time. Xiao Qin smiled bitterly and said, This kind of roadside goods is just so. Well, you can try it. It's cheap anyway. If it doesn't work, you can buy another one. Elder Heaven Ancestor said and told Xiao Qin the refining method. Although it sounded very simple, it was actually very difficult to do. Little Ming, it's time to test whether you are useful or not. You just dropped the ball. You won't do it again, right? After thinking about it, Xiao Qin directly shouted to the underworld flame, You should have heard how to refine a magic tool. Okay, you can start. If you don't succeed, you know the consequences. What use do I have for you? Okay, yes, master. The underworld flame shivered helplessly. It had to do this garbage work, but it didn't dare to refuse. It could only say, I will try my best, not try your best. If you fail, you will die. Xiao Qin said. Okay. The underworld flame could only carefully refine the broken sword in front of Xiao Qin. Time flew. In the blink of an eye, 3 hours had passed. The underworld flame was relieved and so was Xiao Qin. The broken sword was successfully refined. Good job. Okay, you passed the test. In fact, Xiao Qin was just trying to scare the underworld flame. Even if he failed, he couldn't directly erase its divine sense. The previous matter with Yang Jianan wasn't the underworld flame's fault. It was because Yang Jianan was a different species. After refining the flying sword, Xiao Qin opened the window. Outside, the sky was already full of stars. It was late at night. Xiao Qin directly stepped on the flying sword and flew out of the window, disappearing into the vast night. Although it was his first time flying, a cultivator's ability to adapt was very strong. At first, Xiao Qin was not used to it. But soon, Xiao Qin could skillfully control the speed and direction of his flying sword. Because the flying sword had Xiao Chen's divine sense, it was basically easy for Xiao Chen to control it. Previously, Xiao Chen saw the name of the hospital on the ambulance that came to pick up Song Huawu. So, Xiao Chen's next step was to go to the hospital to see Song Huawu's condition. Otherwise, even if he left, he would never be able to feel at ease. After finding an empty space, Xiao Chen landed on the ground. He was just trying it out. This kind of flying method should be used as little as possible in the city. Otherwise, it would be difficult to explain if someone found out. Xiao Chen didn't want to be studied. He was already a wanted man. If someone found out that he had such a magical ability, it would be hard for him not to be caught. In fact, Song Huawu's ward was relatively easy to find. With Song Huawu's condition, she was definitely in the intensive care unit. There were only a few intensive care units here. Xiao Chen soon saw Song Billion sitting outside the intensive care unit with his head down. Chapter 660. It was actually this guy? Xiao Chen was a little surprised that Song Billion would accompany her outside the ICU. It seemed that he was quite concerned about Song Huawu. Ever since Xiao Chen knew of Xia Zhili's strength, he did not look down on Song Billion at all. This person should be around the peak of the 10th layer of martial master. Otherwise, he would not be able to stand on equal footing with Xia Zhili in so many matters. If he didn't enter the ICU under his nose, Song Billion would undoubtedly find out. Originally, Xiao Chen wanted to disguise himself as a medical staff and sneak in. However, after seeing Song Billion stop a doctor who wanted to enter the ward, Xiao Chen dismissed the idea. He turned around and went to the bathroom on this floor. He pushed open the window and leaped onto the flying sword. He circled around the outside of the hospital building and flew to the window of Song Huawu's ICU. Opening the window from the outside was a piece of cake for Xiao Chen. He gently placed his hand on the outside of the window, and the mechanism inside the window opened with a sound. Xiao Chen leaped into the ICU. Although it was a little risky to fly around the hospital, there were always rumors of hauntings in the hospital which had a strong yin qi. Even if someone saw it, no one would believe it. They would only think that it was an illusion. Huawu. Xiao Chen carefully walked in front of Song Huawu. There were all kinds of tubes and wires inserted into her body. However, judging from her steady breathing, her injuries should have stabilized. It seemed that Song Billion must have used some means. Even Xiao Chen couldn't resist the bullets from the pistol, let alone Song Huawu. Xiao Chen was helpless against this kind of pistol with strong penetrative power. He even guessed that Yang Jianan was afraid that he would be able to defend himself after his upgrade, so he deliberately did this. Xiao Chen didn't delay. He directly grabbed Song Huawu's injured meridian with both hands and circulated the mental cultivation method. He continuously transferred the primordial energy in his body to her. It wasn't the first time he treated Song Huawu, so Xiao Chen was quite familiar with it. Moreover, when he touched some of Song Huawu's sensitive parts, Xiao Chen didn't feel guilty anymore. Although he and Song Huawu weren't in a relationship, everyone understood that their relationship had long surpassed ordinary friends. This time, Song Huawu's injuries were not lighter than the last time. Even if Xiao Chen had already stepped into the foundation establishment stage, it would still take a lot of effort to recover. After Song Huawu fainted, she had been having a fever. Her mind kept having strange dreams. She dreamed that she was dead and that Xiao Chen had also been beaten to death by Yang Jianan. The scene changed, and there were bits and pieces of her meeting Xiao Chen, as well as some things that happened at the Claryman Hotel. As the injuries in her body healed, Song Huawu's body temperature also dropped. She felt relaxed all over. She slowly opened her eyes and saw Xiao Chen's face. Ah. Song Huawu was shocked. Am I dead? Xiao Chen? Are you dead too? Are we in heaven? But why are you touching my chest? You are such a hypocrite. You always pretended to be serious before, but you are like this when you are dead. Xiao Chen was just about to say that Huawu was awake. When he heard her words, he suddenly sweated. Huawu, we are not dead yet. Not dead? Then why is it white here? If you are not dead, why did you touch me? Song Huawu was a little puzzled. How could you come back to find me? You were in the hospital. I came back to heal you. Xiao Chen retracted his hand awkwardly. I didn't mean to touch you. I was healing you. Ah? Oh. Song Huawu immediately reacted. So this was a hospital. When she thought of the treatment last time, Song Huawu also knew that Xiao Chen probably didn't touch her on purpose. But why didn't he take his hand away after the treatment was over? He was still pinching her, however she did not say it out loud. Some things would be awkward if she said it out loud. Song Huawu also knew that Xiao Chen probably came here secretly and could not stay for long. She did not want to make both of them feel awkward in such a short time together. Huawu, thank you. Xiaoqin said solemnly, actually you don't have to do this. Even if I am injured I can heal myself. I'm afraid you won't be able to escape. Song Huawu smiled. I said that my life is yours so it's nothing. It's still yours now. Alright Huawu, don't say such things in the future. Xiaoqin interrupted her words. You have to live well. Don't be impulsive and don't think about clearing my name or taking revenge for me. I will come back one day. Are you leaving? Song Huawu listened to Xiaoqian's words and seemed to have the intention to say goodbye. Yes, Song Billion is outside. I can't stay for long. Xiaoqian also didn't want to leave. He also wanted to stay here and talk to Song Huawu. At the moment when Huawu blocked the bullet for him, Xiaoqian understood everything. The relationship between the two had already surpassed the relationship of good friends. Okay. Song Huawu was a little reluctant. Then hug me. Xiaoqian was stunned. I'm joking. Let's go. Song Huawu smiled. Xiaoqian leaned down and gently hugged Song Huawu. Song Huawu's body suddenly stiffened, and her breathing became a little rapid. Although she had a lot of intimate interactions with Xiaoqian before, this was the first time she deliberately hugged him. She was a little nervous. I'm leaving. Xiaoqian let go of Song Huawu and pinched her blushing face. Then he turned to the window, jumped, and stepped on the flying sword. Song Huawu was shocked. Although she didn't know how Xiaoqian came in, this was a hospital with more than 40 floors. If he jumped down it would be completely different from a hotel. He would fall to his death. Song Huawu subconsciously got up. The wires on her body were also torn off, but she didn't need these things. Just when Song Huawu wanted to scream, she saw Xiaoqian outside the window turn into an afterimage and float into the distance. Song Huawu rubbed her eyes and was shocked subconsciously. Xiaoqian can actually fly. Could it be that he was seeing things? It must be like this. I just woke up and am still a little confused. When she came to the window, Song Huawu leaned over and looked down. There was no commotion downstairs. It seemed that nothing happened to Xiaoqian. That was good. After taking a few deep breaths of the fresh air outside, Song Huawu was lost in thought for a while. She stared at the night sky outside. When Song Billion heard the noise in the room, he quickly stood up and pushed the door into the ICU. He saw Song Huawu standing by the window and looking outside. He was shocked. Huawu, how can you open the window? You still have a fever? Song Billion rushed over. With second young Master Song's warning, Song Billion did not dare to neglect Song Huawu in the slightest. It's okay. I'm fine, Deputy Bureau Chief Song. Song Huawu said faintly. You're fine? Song Billion was shocked. Looking at Song Huawu's appearance, it seems that she really is fine. Could it be that second young Master Song's medicinal pills are so effective? It really is something from a martial arts family. It's really powerful. And I'm fine. Song Huawu said, what about Yang Jianan? How did he deal with it? This. Song Billion's face became a little troubled. Never mind him, even second young Master Song couldn't do anything to Yang Jianan even if he wanted to. Although the Song family still maintained control of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, it was also because the Supernatural Investigation Bureau grew with the efforts of the Song family. However, with the changes of the times, the Song family had long hidden behind the scenes and became a martial arts family. Now, the people of the Song family at most had the title of honorary consultant of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Of course, every bureau chief had more or less some connections with the Song family, but some things couldn't be guaranteed. What's more, if Yang Jianan was a small fry, it would be fine. Now he was the deputy team leader of Team B. The most important thing was that he had the strength of a 10th level Great Perfection Martial Master. With this level he could be on equal footing with Song Billion. His promotion to the deputy bureau chief was already a matter of course. No one could stop him. Even if Song Billion wanted to help Song Huawu vent her anger, he wouldn't have the chance. He couldn't help but sigh. If Song Huawu was injured like this, and he didn't push for Yang Jianan's punishment, second young Master Song would definitely think that he didn't do his job well. However, pushing for it wouldn't have any effect, and he would offend Xia Zhili for no reason. Of course, he still didn't know that Xia Zhili had begun to have dissatisfaction with Yang Jianan. Forget it. I got it. Song Huawu shook her head. She also understood that Yang Jianan's strong return and his strength had skyrocketed. His promotion was inevitable. She couldn't stop it even if she wanted to. Moreover, the most unfortunate thing was that she was now the team leader of Team C, and Yang Jianan was likely to become her immediate superior. Hua Wu, it's not that I don't want to stand up for you, but there's nothing I can do. You should understand. Song Billion explained. I understand, Deputy Bureau Chief Song. You don't have to explain. Song Hua Wu still didn't know about the change in Song Billion's role. She felt that he was very concerned about her opinion today. Could it be because she was a patient so he was more concerned about her? That should be the case. Since there's nothing else, I'll go handle the discharge procedures for you. The Supernatural Investigation Bureau is still waiting for me to go back for a meeting, Song Billion said. And? Song Hua Wu nodded. Because Song Billion was there to handle the discharge procedures, it was very easy. Song Hua Wu went back to rest, while Song Billion went to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's headquarters. In the conference room, Deputy Bureau Chief Ling Tian saw Song Billion walk in. He coughed twice and said, All right, let's have a meeting now to discuss the matter of Xiao Qin, Song Hua Wu and Yang Jianan. Song Billion was surprised to see Ling Tian, Xia Zhili, the Deputy Bureau Chief Zhang who was going to replace Xia Zhili, and Yang Jianan sitting in the conference room. Yang Jianan actually attended this meeting? This made his eyelids twitch, and the ominous premonition intensified. Chapter 661. Yang Jianan has already become a martial master at the peak of the 10th layer. Everyone should have seen this by now, right? Ling Tian said. As if to go along with Ling Tian's words, Yang Jianan displayed his martial master strength at the peak of the 10th layer. Alright, since there are no objections, then according to our rules, Yang Jianan will be promoted to the Deputy Director of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. He will be in charge of Team C. Ling Tian also followed the rules. Does anyone have any objections? Xia Zhili looked at Yang Jianan deeply and didn't say anything. Although Song Billion wanted to stop him, he knew that it would be useless. It would only make him look bad for no reason. Only the 8th layer Martial Master, Deputy Director Zhang, was a little depressed. He was about to take over Team C, but Yang Jianan suddenly appeared. This way he would continue to be the Deputy Director who did odd jobs. But who asked him to be the weakest? This was something that couldn't be helped. Since there are no objections, then I announce that Yang Jianan will be promoted to the Deputy Director of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. He will be in charge of Team C, Ling Tian said. Another matter is regarding Xiao Qin. Xiao Qin impersonated a member of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau for several months. We need to come up with a solution. Otherwise, what will others think of us? I think we should let this matter go. Jianan is safe and sound now, and Xiao Qin has no intention of harming our Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Instead, he has made great contributions to our Supernatural Investigation Bureau, raising our reputation both overseas and in the pugilistic world to a new height. So, I think we should exempt Xiao Qin from punishment and let this matter be dealt with in a low-key manner. Otherwise, others might say that our Supernatural Investigation Bureau doesn't tolerate meritorious subjects. Xia Zhili said slowly. How can we do that? He impersonated me for so long and we should just let it go? If word gets out, people will think that I'm afraid of him. Before anyone else could speak, Yang Jianan was the first to object. Xia Zhili frowned. He wanted to curse at Yang Jianan on the spot. You just got promoted to Deputy Director and you don't even listen to me? I just gave my opinion and you immediately object. What will others think of you? As expected, Song Billion looked at Xia Zhili with a smile that didn't seem like a smile. Although he was happy that Xia Zhili was humiliated, he had to suppress Yang Jianan at this time. Not only did he have to give second young Master Song an explanation, he also had to give Song Huawu an explanation. Since Song Huawu had taken the bullet for Xiao Qin and paid such a huge price, she naturally did not want anything to happen to Xiao Qin. In the past, he would have been happy to let Xiao Qin die so that his son, Pang Fingda, would have a chance. But now he didn't dare to do that. He coughed twice and said, I support Deputy Bureau Chief Xia's opinion on this matter. Indeed, Xiao Qin has made great contributions to our Supernatural Investigation Bureau. If we do anything to him, it will seem like we are too petty. Also, Yang Jianan's skills are not as good as others. He didn't do anything to Xiao Qin. So, I suggest that we cancel the arrest warrant for Xiao Qin. What? Yang Jianan looked at Song Billion in disbelief. He did not expect Song Billion to support Xia Zhili. What made him even angrier was that Song Billion did not put him in his eyes at all. He called Xia Zhili Deputy Bureau Chief Xia and called him Yang Jianan. Since both Deputy Bureau Chief Xia and Deputy Bureau Chief Song have said so, what about you, Deputy Bureau Chief Zhang? Ling Tian looked at Deputy Bureau Chief Zhang and asked. I abstain. Deputy Bureau Chief Zhang knew that he was the weakest and did not want to participate in this kind of fight. Okay, since that's the case, 2 votes for cancellation, 1 abstain and 1 against. I also feel that we can cancel the arrest warrant for Xiaoqin. This matter was originally Jiannan's own fault for falling off the cliff. Moreover, Xiaoqin has made great contributions, so it should indeed be handled in a low-key manner. Ling Tian nodded and said, since that's the case, Deputy Bureau Chief Zhang can handle this matter later and cancel the arrest warrant. Yes. Deputy Bureau Chief Zhang was originally just an errand boy, so he naturally would not have any objections. Yang Jiannan snorted coldly. He was very unhappy, but there was nothing he could do. He could only target Song Huawu. What about Song Huawu? I feel that she's a traitor. She clearly knows that Xiaoqin is impersonating me, but she still protects Xiaoqin. This is simply one mistake after another. I suggest that she be stripped of her position as the leader of Team C of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Yang Jiannan, that's enough. Xia Zhili was a little angry. *CK, is there no end to this? What's wrong with showing your existence? Everyone knows that I supported Song Huawu to get the position. You've always been my person and now you're going against me? Xia Zhili, what do you mean by that? I'm taking responsibility for the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. What, are you in cahoots with Song Huawu? Or could it be that you, old thing, have taken a fancy to Song Huawu? Yang Jiannan said in a strange tone. He was a petty person who was intoxicated by success. Since Xia Zhili was like this, there was no need for him to put Xia Zhili in his eyes. You. Xia Zhili was about to explode. What he hated the most was people talking about his relationships. Who didn't know that he was a eunuch? To actually use this matter to mock him, he was about to explode. However, when he thought about Yang Jiannan's strength, he endured it and said with a cold face, Yang Jiannan, are you going against me? I'm not going against anyone. However, before Yang Jiannan could finish his sentence, he was interrupted by Song Bilian again. I think it's better to let Hua Huawu be in charge of Team C. This was previously approved by Deputy Bureau Chief Ling, and I've also reported to Bureau Chief Ling for approval. Song Bilian said indifferently. Deputy Bureau Chief Ling, Song Huawu is a traitor. I don't think she's qualified for this position anymore. I think Xia Shibin is a good choice. Yang Jiannan suggested. Ling Tian frowned. He didn't expect Yang Jiannan to be so arrogant the moment he took office. If he knew this would happen, he would have suppressed Yang Jiannan. This fellow was a little too arrogant. However, he had to admit that Yang Jiannan's words made sense. Previously, he had objected to Yang Jiannan's decision regarding Xiaoqin's matter. Now he couldn't do it again. After all, Yang Jiannan's words were reasonable. I think Deputy Bureau Chief Yang's words make sense. However, just as Ling Tian opened his mouth, Song Bilian stood up and quickly walked to his side. He leaned over and whispered in his ear. Hua Huawu is the younger sister of the Song family's second young master Song. Second young master Song will soon be in charge of the Song family's affairs in the secular world, as well as their cooperation with the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, Song Bilian said directly. Previously, these higher-ups knew that Song Huawu was related to him, but they didn't know that there was another more important relationship. Now he had to point it out directly to change Ling Tian's mind. Ling Tian was slightly stunned. Although the Song family couldn't directly control the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, he still had to give them face. At this time he had already made his choice. He said, however, Deputy Bureau Chief Xia and Deputy Bureau Chief Song's words make sense. I think it's settled. Song Huawu will continue to be the leader of Team C, and Xia Shibin will be the deputy leader of Team C. Deputy Bureau Chief Yang, what do you think? Okay. Although Yang Jiannan didn't know what Song Bilian said to Ling Tian, he knew that there was nothing he could say, so he accepted it. Xia Shibin being the deputy leader was actually just a matter of title. Yang Jiannan believed that with his control over Team C, taking over Song Huawu would be a piece of cake. When that time came, Xia Shibin would be able to temporarily take over as the leader. Alright, the meeting is over. Deputy Bureau Chief Zhang, make the arrangements and send out the documents. After saying that, Ling Tian stood up and left first. As for Yang Jiannan, he also snorted and directly walked away, not even looking at Xia Zhili. Song Bilian looked at the infuriated Xia Zhili with a smile that didn't seem like a smile. He smiled faintly and said, Deputy Bureau Chief Xia, you really have a bad eye for people. Ah, this subordinate of yours is quite impressive. Scram. Xia Zhili glared at Song Bilian and said, "Don't think that you can insult me just because you support my opinion. Do you believe that I won't beat you up?" "Ah, I'm so scared. Goodbye." Song Bilian shook his head indifferently and turned to leave. Xia Zhili's expression was incomparably gloomy. He didn't think that Yang Jianan would be so arrogant and despotic, not putting him in his eyes at all. He had really misjudged this fellow. Right now he was starting to miss Xiaochen. Although Xiaochen was a fake, the two of them had always cooperated very well. Not only did they get him the extraterrestrial ink meteorite, they even got him the 5 poison secret manual. Furthermore, they had made great contributions and won glory for the Supernatural Investigation Department. They would never become arrogant just because they helped him do something. On the other hand, this Yang Jianan was really a traitor. Xia Zhili stood up and slowly walked towards the office. Now that the matter had already been decided, he could not change it. However, he still fought for Xiaochen one last time. He hoped that Xiaochen could behave himself and try his best to avoid Yang Jianan's sharp edge. Xiaochen's phone rang, causing Xiaochen to be a little surprised. This was the Supernatural Investigation Department's number, an internal number that Yang Jianan used in the past. Why was it still ringing? Yang Jianan didn't replace the number? Looking at the name Xia Zhili on the caller ID, Xiaochen hesitated for a moment, but still picked it up. "Deputy Bureau Chief Xia." "And Xiaochang, it's me. I've thought of a way to cancel your wanted order, but you have to be on guard against Yang Jianan. I'm afraid that he will deal with you in private." Xia Zhili went straight to the point. Xiaochen was slightly startled. He never thought that Xia Zhili would do this. He even reminded him to be on guard against Yang Jianan? Wasn't Xia Zhili and Yang Jianan together? Could it be that he was lying to him? "Yang Jianan is now the Deputy Bureau Chief. The matter of your wanted order being cancelled will be announced to the Warriors Guild in a while. You can go and take a look." Xia Zhili continued, "I've secretly changed your phone number to an internal number. Currently only I know of it. In the future you can continue to contact me and Hua Wu." Chapter 662. "Ah, thank you, Deputy Bureau Chief Xia." When Xiaochen heard this, he could roughly confirm that what he said was true. After all, this kind of thing could be verified very quickly. He could see the message as long as he logged into the Warrior Guild's client. "And you don't have to thank me. Take care in the future. I can only help you this much." Xia Zhili said, "All right, I won't say any more." Looking at the phone in his hand, Xiaochen was filled with emotions for a while. What he didn't expect was that Xia Zhili would actually help him to cancel the wanted order. The funny thing was that he wanted to kill him in the beginning. It was really fate making fools out of people. He shook his head, but no matter what, this was a good thing. At least, Xiaochen could go home for the new year with dignity. He didn't have to worry about being hunted by the Supernatural Investigation Bureau again. After the wanted order was cancelled, Xiaochen didn't need to be as secretive as before. He directly changed to his original appearance and went to the airport. He successfully bought a ticket to Songning and waited in the waiting hall to board the plane. In the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, Yang Jianan moved to his new big office. This was his office in the headquarters. In the Northeast branch he also had an office which was the headquarters of Team C. "Xiao Xia, I have really wronged you during this period of time. You have to compromise." Yang Jianan crossed his legs and looked at Xia Shibin, who was standing in front of him. "However, you are considered to have defected to the enemy. Your merits and demerits offset each other. I will not punish you. You should work well with me in the future." "Yes, Brother Yang." Xia Shibin secretly cursed in his heart. "You disappeared. If you didn't die, you didn't even say hello. If I didn't follow Xiaochen, I would have been crippled long ago. If I was killed by Xiaomeng, would I still be alive and kicking here?" However, he naturally didn't dare to say so. He knew Yang Jianan's character. If he said so, he would definitely anger him. But after all, you have betrayed once. In order to test your sincerity, I will now give you a task. You go and kill Xiaochen." Yang Jianan pushed a pistol on the table and said to Xia Shibin faintly, "What?" Xia Shibin's eyes widened and he looked at Yang Jianan in shock. "Brother Yang, are you sure? The Bureau has cancelled Xiaochen's wanted order. He is no longer a wanted criminal. If I go and kill him, isn't this, pa?" When Yang Jianan saw that Xia Shibin actually dared to talk back, he slapped him, causing Xia Shibin to stumble. "F***ck, you dare to refute my words now? Have you been spoiled by Xiaochen recently?" "I." Xia Shibin put on a long face and said gloomily, "No, Brother Yang, what I mean is if I go and kill Xiaochen, won't I be finished too?" "What? You don't believe in my abilities? I'm the deputy bureau chief now. Do you think I can't handle such a small matter? Are you looking down on me? Yang Jianan slammed the table angrily. Of course I believe. I'll go. Xia Shibin picked up the pistol. And according to the tracking clues I received, Xiaoqin is now in the airport lounge. You go and kill him. Yang Jianan nodded and said indifferently. Yes. Xia Shibin didn't dare to refute and picked up the pistol. Don't forget who fought for you to be the deputy team leader. If you don't want it, just say it. Yang Jianan snorted. I understand. Xia Shibin quickly lowered his head and carefully left the office. Looking at his back, Yang Jianan's mouth flashed a sneer. Xiaoqin, do you think I will let you go just because you cancelled the wanted order? You are too naive. Everything I have now was given to me by you. Although he could have the strength of a 10th level Great Perfection Martial Master, he couldn't be happy at all because that strength didn't belong to him. He had to rely on injecting medicine to maintain it. Without the medicine he was just a first level martial master. Actually, this was quite good. Some people might even dream of it, but the key problem was that other than injecting medicine he couldn't increase his strength through cultivation. In other words, if the medicine didn't improve, his true strength would always be a first level martial master, and the highest strength he could reach would always be a 10th level Great Perfection Martial Master. But this wasn't his original goal. His original goal was to become a general. This was basically sealing off his path of retreat. Moreover, the side effects of the medicine were too strong. Every time he injected it, he would be in pain at night due to physical exhaustion. It was hard to sleep and it was worse than death. Therefore, while he looked good on the outside, Yang Jianan's heart became even more twisted. He wanted Xiaoqin to die to vent his anger. Xia Shibin walked out of Yang Jianan's office. The first thought that came to his mind was that Yang Jianan had gone crazy. But thinking about it, Yang Jianan had always been this kind of person. He was selfish and Xia Shibin was like a dog beside him. After hesitating for a moment, Xia Shibin gritted his teeth and walked into Xia Zhili's office. Oh, Xia Shibin? Why are you here? Xia Zhili was a little surprised. After the real Yang Jianan returned, Xia Shibin got close to him. Otherwise, Yang Jianan wouldn't have supported him as the deputy team leader during the meeting. Deputy Bureau Chief Xia, did you fall out with Deputy Bureau Chief Yang? Xia Shibin probed. Are you here to persuade me? Xia Zhili's face darkened. No. Xia Shibin was shocked and quickly said, how is that possible? I just want to ask Deputy Bureau Chief Xia, do you think Deputy Bureau Chief Yang or Xiaoqin is better? What do you mean? Xia Zhili looked at Xia Shibin coldly. Yang Jianan sent you to test me? No. How is that possible? Xia Shibin shook his head in panic. No. I think Deputy Bureau Chief Xia must think that Xiaoqin is better, right? Because I think so too. What are you trying to say? Don't beat around the bush. Xia Zhili frowned. Just now, Yang Jianan asked me to go to the airport to assassinate Xiaoqin. I didn't want to go, but I had to go. Xia Shibin took out a gun from his pocket, which shocked Xia Zhili. Be careful of the muzzle. Although Xia Zhili didn't believe that Xia Shibin dared to shoot in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, he still reminded him. Yes. Xia Shibin put down the gun and looked at Xia Zhili with a sad face. Deputy Bureau Chief Xia, what should I do? Damn, I'm going to die. If I go, won't I be finished? Yang Jianan really asked you to do this? Xia Zhili was also a little surprised. This Yang Jianan is really crazy. He just came back and he is already arrogant. In fact, Yang Jianan had his arrogance, but more of it came from his fear. Yang Jianan's strength wasn't his own strength. In order not to let others look down on him, he could only use arrogance to cover it up. He was afraid that once he tolerated and retreated, people would find out that there was something wrong with his strength. Because only people with strength dared to be arrogant, he did this to confuse others. Yes, how would I dare to lie to Deputy Bureau Chief Xia? Xia Shibin quickly said, Deputy Bureau Chief Xia, you know how good Xiaoqin was in the past. Although I was still his follower, at least I had a position. Although I have been promoted, Yang Jianan still treats me like a dog, ordering me around and making me do all kinds of dangerous things. Let's not talk about whether I can kill Xiaoqin. Even if I kill him, will I be fine after I come back? Moreover, Xiaoqin treats me well. Even when he knows that I followed Yang Jianan and went against him in the past, he didn't make things difficult for me and trusted me quite a bit. You really think so? Xia Zhili asked. Yes, I can swear. Xia Shibin knew that he had to express his stance or else he would be finished. No matter whether the matter succeeded or not, he would be pushed out as a scapegoat. But I still can't believe you. If Hua Wu said this to me I could still believe her. Xia Zhili said indifferently. Deputy Bureau Chief Xia, actually I already knew that Xiaoqin was a fake. I have always cooperated with him and Hua Wu also knows about this. If I wasn't sincere, I would have reported it to you long ago. Xia Shibin saw that Xia Zhili didn't really believe him, so he continued. Oh. Xia Zhili didn't deny it. Xia Shibin saw that this wouldn't work, so he gritted his teeth and knelt on the ground and said loudly, Deputy Bureau Chief Xia, my parents died when I was young. Look, my surname is Xia and so is yours. Why don't I become your godson? I will listen to you in the future and follow Hua Wu and you. I will take over Team C for you and make that idiot Yang Jianan a mere figurehead. Oh. This time Xia Zhili was a little moved. When he was young his body became disabled and he didn't get married. He didn't have any children, which was something he regretted. Otherwise he wouldn't have been able to pursue fame and fortune. This Xia Shibin originally had the surname Xia, so it wasn't a bad idea for him to be his godson. It could also be considered as his old Xia family carrying on the bloodline. Moreover, this Xia Shibin could say such words and there was a recording in the room, so it shouldn't be fake. It was also impossible to say that he planned this with Yang Jianan. With Yang Jianan's arrogance, how could he let Xia Shibin scold him here? Thinking of this, Xia Zhili signaled Xia Shibin to stand up and nodded. As for the godson, I will see how you perform in the future. As for the assassination of Xiaoqin, what do you plan to do? The reason why Xia Zhili believed Xia Shibin was because Yang Jianan had no reason to lie to him. They wanted to assassinate Xiaoqin, so no matter from which angle they were in the wrong first. They couldn't harm him at all. I don't want to go, Dad. If I go, won't I die? Xia Shibin said with a sad face. Xia Zhili nodded and said, 9103999. This is Xiaoqian's new internal number. You call him and communicate with him about this. Then you go over and put on a show. Don't really call him. Then if I go, even if I don't succeed, I will be arrested when I come back, right? Xia Shibin was a little worried. Chapter 663. At that time Yang Jianan should help you deal with it. I will also help you. It should be fine. Xia Zhili waved his hand. If you don't go directly and say that you are seeking refuge with me, then Yang Jianan's next target will be you. If he can assassinate Xiaoqin, he can assassinate you next. Xia Shibin shuddered and realized the key point. Yes, he wanted to get Xia Zhili's protection, but Yang Jianan was a high-level martial arts master. Wouldn't it be easy to assassinate him? Thinking of this, Xia Shibin quickly followed Xia Zhili's words and dialed Xiaoqin's number. Hello. Xiaoqin was at the airport. When he saw Xia Shibin's call, he was a little surprised. Brother Xiao, it's me, Xia Shibin. Xia Shibin said, Yang Jianan, that idiot, gave me a gun and asked me to assassinate you at the airport. What should I do? What? Xiaoqin was stunned, but he was also a little surprised that Xia Shibin would actually tell him about this. Where are you now? I'm in my dad's. Oh no, it's Deputy Bureau Chief Xia's office, said Xia Shibin. What? Deputy Bureau Chief Xia is your father? Xiaoqin was a little shocked. But I just acknowledged him as my godfather. Xia Shibin was a little embarrassed. Yang Jianan asked me to assassinate you. If I went, wouldn't I be finished? I asked Deputy Bureau Chief Xia for help, but Deputy Bureau Chief Xia didn't quite believe me, so I acknowledged him as my godfather. Xiaoqin said. This was really a mess, but it could be seen that Xia Shibin was a good person. This was also thanks to Xiaoqian's usual good treatment of his companions. What did Deputy Bureau Chief Xia say? He asked us to act out a play. I will miss and get beaten up by you. I will escape and the mission will fail, said Xia Shibin. Okay, then come over. I'm at gate 19. Xiaoqin didn't talk nonsense, but he was a little annoyed in his heart. This Yang Jianan is really restless. If he returns to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, he won't die. Then I'll go over now, Brother Xiao. After hanging up the phone, Xia Shibin breathed a sigh of relief. He was afraid that Xiaoqin would not cooperate. Then it would be difficult for him. If he told Xiaoqin about the plan, Xiaoqin would be prepared and kill him. Then there would be no way to reason with him. Moreover, he did not think that he could fight against Xiaoqin, who was a martial master with his strength as a martial artist. After hanging up the phone, Xia Shibin drove to the airport. Because of his special identity, he didn't need to go through security or hold a ticket to enter the departure hall. When he arrived at gate 19, he saw Xiaoqin from afar. Xiaoqin also saw Xia Shibin walking over, but he pretended not to see him and played with his phone there. Xia Shibin suddenly took out his gun and aimed at Xiaoqin. However, the moment he fired, Xiaoqin moved. It seemed that he got up and planned to go to the washroom, and he just happened to avoid the bullet. Xiaoqin was shocked and looked at Xia Shibin. Xia Shibin was a little panicked. The first shot missed and he quickly raised his gun to shoot again. However, the departure hall was different from the hotel. This place was very big. If there was a slight deviation, it might hurt the innocent. He nervously aimed at Xiaoqin and fired again, but Xiaoqin easily dodged it. The distance between him and Xiaoqin was very far. Xiaoqin only needed to slightly tilt his body to avoid the bullet, and Xia Shibin couldn't easily lock onto him. This way, even if Yang Jianan looked at the video later, he would have something to explain. After shooting a few times, he didn't hit Xia Shibin. When his gun was out of bullets, Xia Shibin suddenly turned and ran. Xiaoqin chased behind him and kicked Xia Shibin's back. Xia Shibin rolled and crawled out of the security check. Xiaoqin hesitated for a moment and didn't chase after him. A few policemen rushed over to stop Xia Shibin, but he was a martial artist after all. Ordinary people couldn't stop him. Just as the policemen were about to pull out their guns in shock, Xia Shibin had already run out of the airport and got into a car and left quickly. Xia Shibin ran away and Xiaoqin was surrounded by the police. After all, he was the target of the shooting. "Sir, please come with us and cooperate with the investigation," a leading policeman said to Xiaoqin. Xiaoqin frowned slightly. If he left with them, he might not be able to catch the plane. Just as he was thinking about how to refuse, the policeman received a phone call. Then he quickly said to Xiaoqin, "I'm sorry. I didn't know you were from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. We'll leave first." Looking at these people coming and going in a hurry, Xiaoqin was a little confused. It seemed that Xia Zhili or Yang Jianan had informed the airport. But in any case, he could board the plane smoothly. Of course, it was Yang Jianan who didn't stop them from chasing Xia Shibin, and it was Xia Zhili who informed Xiaoqin. At this moment, Xia Shibin had returned to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau in a daze. He didn't run at all. First, there was nowhere to run. He didn't have Xiaoqin's ability. Second, Xia Zhili and Yang Jianan both said that they would protect him. So, he might as well come back. Sure enough, the moment Xia Shibin stepped into the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's headquarters, he was taken away by Deputy Team Leader Lu of the Supervisory Group and locked in the interrogation room. However, after Xia Shibin entered the interrogation room, he didn't say a word. Deputy Team Leader Lu asked someone for a routine questioning, but nothing was asked. Deputy Team Leader Lu didn't continue. Anyway, the matter was very clear. There was no need for evidence at all. The video at the airport was evidence. How to deal with it was up to the Deputy Bureau Chief. It had nothing to do with him. However, what surprised Xia Zhili was that Yang Jianan didn't jump out to protect Xia Shibin immediately. This surprised him. At this moment, Yang Jianan was smashing a cup in the office. "Trash. What a trash. You can't even kill Xiaoqin with a gun. You're really trash. You didn't even hit him once." Looking at the video in front of him, Yang Jianan was furious, but he didn't suspect that Xia Shibin and Xiaoqin colluded. The video showed that all this was a coincidence. When the shot didn't hit, Xiaoqin was alerted. The distance between the two was very far, and Xia Shibin's marksmanship wasn't particularly accurate. Hence, it led to the following situation. If Xiaoqin were dead, then it would be easy. It would be worth it for him to spend some effort to protect Xia Shibin. But now that Xiaoqin wasn't dead, if he were to spend more effort to protect Xia Shibin, it would be a bit of a waste of effort. Since Yang Jianan didn't take the initiative to raise this matter, Xia Zhili was happy to be idle. Anyway, without the unified opinion of the Deputy Bureau Chief at the meeting, it wouldn't be so easy to deal with a deputy team leader. At most, Xia Shibin would be locked up first and there wouldn't be any danger. Xiaoqin stood at Songning Airport and got into a taxi. Xiaoqin said subconsciously, "Lidhua Waterfront Villa area." Okay. The driver nodded and started the car. However, after that, Xiaoqin couldn't help but smile bitterly. He actually said the address of the Miss Villa casually, but he didn't change it. He hadn't seen Qing Minjing for a long time. He didn't know if she was doing well. The car stopped at the gate of the villa. Looking at the familiar house, Xiaoqin was suddenly filled with emotions. After paying the driver, Xiaoqin got out of the car. He only had a backpack in his hand, which was filled with his harvest from Hakanamata Desert. "Cousin Minjing, do you think my snowman looks like your husband?" Jean Bebe was making a snowman in the courtyard of the villa. As soon as she finished the prototype, she shouted into the villa. I told you that I'm having sex today. Do you want me to freeze to death? Miss Cheng's voice came from the villa. Xiaoqin shook his head. It seemed that there was no man in the villa. Even Qing Minjing became bold and spoke without scruples. Seeing that she could not summon Xiaoqin, Jean Bebe could only turn around and continue studying her snowman. However, as soon as she lifted her head, she saw Xiaoqin appearing in the villa's courtyard with a dusty travel bag. She immediately rubbed her eyes in surprise. What the heck? Am I hallucinating? Or is the snowman alive? Xiaoqin did not know what to say. It didn't disappear? Jean Bebe picked up the broom used to make the snowman and swept it at Xiaoqin. That's not right. This hallucination is quite real. Holy sh*t, Bebe, what are you doing? Xiaoqin hurried to step back. Cousin-in-law? Hearing Xiaoqin's words, Jean Bebe finally stopped doubting him. She dropped the broom and ran over quickly. She gave Xiaoqin a chest hug. Ow 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 ow. Cousin-in-law is back. Jean Bebe shouted happily. Hearing Jean Bebe's screams in the courtyard, Qing Minjing shouted impatiently in the villa. Bebe, you don't have to lie to me. I won't be fooled by your excuse anymore. It's true. Cousin-in-law is back. Jean Bebe shouted excitedly. You will suffer a great loss if you don't come out. Bebe, let go of me first. You are crushing me. Xiaoqin did not want to take advantage of Jean Bebe. After all, she was the eldest sister's cousin. It was okay for him to joke with her, but if anything happened, what would the eldest sister think of him? Well, yes. I miss cousin-in-law so much that my breasts are getting bigger. Jean Bebe said gloomily. Pooh. Xiaoqin coughed. At this moment Yi Xiaoya walked out of the villa. She was going to check the herbs, which was something she did several times every day. However, the moment she walked out of the door, she saw Jean Bebe holding a man in her arms. She was about to mock Jean Bebe, but the man seemed to be quite familiar. Yi Xiaoya took a closer look and was immediately dumbfounded. She exclaimed, Xiaoqin? You are back? Yi Xiaoya, you lied to me together with Jean Bebe? Hearing Yi Xiaoya's exclamation, Qing Minjing was even more unhappy. Weren't the two of them sworn enemies? Why did they join hands to lie to her today? Yes, I'm back. Xiaoqin said with a smile. The Supernatural Investigation Bureau's order of arrest has been cancelled. However, let's talk inside, shall we? It's easy to attract attention here. Xiaoqin's voice was low and not as sharp as their exclamations. Therefore, Qing Minjing did not hear it. Chapter 664. The three of them entered the villa one after another. While walking, Jean Bebe said, Cousin-in-law, Bebe wants to have a big meal tonight. I want supper too. I haven't had it for a long time. You have to do double cultivation with me tonight. I miss you. Yi Xiaoya said, unwilling to be outdone. How could she and Jean Bebe work together? Hearing that Jean Bebe was going to occupy Xiaoqin until midnight, she immediately refused. Whatever you say is useless. I won't believe you. Qing Minjing said without turning her head while watching the TV. Minjing, what do you want to have for dinner? Xiaoqin asked with a smile. Me? Anything? Qing Minjing turned her head in astonishment. Hello, miss, long time no see. Xiaoqin extended his hand and greeted Qing Minjing. Oh no. You two have been lying to me all the time. I'm having hallucinations. I need to go to sleep. Qing Minjing stood up in a daze and was about to walk upstairs. However, after taking 2 steps, she turned her head and looked at Xiaoqin in disbelief. You're really back? Huh? Xiaoqin looked at Qing Minjing, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. I'm really back. They didn't lie to you. Qing Minjing looked at Xiaoqin in astonishment. How did you come back with this appearance? Aren't you afraid of being wanted? The wanted order has been cancelled. It's fine now. Xiaoqin smiled. Really? So you can stay here in the future? Qing Minjing was a little surprised, but then she said, I don't care. But we still need a servant to cook for us. You know I'm a neat freak and I don't want to hire others. Hee, I understand. Xiaoqin said with a smile. Then miss, what shall we have for dinner tonight? Whatever. Since it's your first day back, I won't order anything. You can cook whatever you want. Qing Minjing wanted to say that she liked whatever he cooked, but she was afraid that Xiaoqin would be too proud. Okay. Xiaoqin nodded. But I may not stay here for a while. Oh? Qing Minjing was a little surprised. You still want to go? I have to go back to the Xiao family. Xiaoqin said. I've been away for a long time. The Xiao family. Aren't you afraid that the Qing family will do something to you? Qing Minjing asked. Whatever. On account of you, I promise I won't kill them, Xiaoqin said with a smile. You. Qing Minjing glared at Xiaoqin. She was afraid that the Qing family would do something bad to him, but listening to this guy, it seemed that he was going to let the Qing family go. Minjing, with my current strength, the Qing family is no longer a threat, Xiaoqin said. He went out this time and his vision and structure had improved a lot compared to before. His opponents were also at the martial arts level. For these ordinary families and the martial arts families, Xiaoqin really didn't put them in his eyes. Okay, then you be careful. Although Qing Minjing was a little unhappy that Xiaoqin looked down on the Qing family, she was still happy for Xiaoqin that he could have the strength he had today. At least Xiaoqin didn't have to live in fear every day. I hope the Qing family will be sensible. Xiaoqin sighed. Minjing, I really don't want to be their enemy. Qing Minjing pursed her lips and didn't say anything. She was also very conflicted in her heart. I'm going to buy groceries. Sensing that the atmosphere was not right, Xiaoqin turned around and was about to go out. I'm going too. Cousin, tell me some interesting experiences. Jean Bebe was about to go out, but she was pulled back by Qing Minjing. Come back. Qing Minjing glared at her and said, do you want to have sex with him like Xin Jingxian? How is that possible? At most, we'll hug or something. Jean Bebe was exposed, but she didn't blush at all. She sat back on the sofa. Yi Xiaoya looked at the two of them coldly. No one knew what she was thinking. In the Qing family in Qing Zhongfan's room, a man in black stood in front of Qing Zhongfan and said proudly, in that case the Yang Jianan from before was Xiaoqin, who is also Xiaochang? That's right. Senior brother Niu, according to the information from the Qin family, this is indeed the case. Qing Zhongfan nodded and said very respectfully. The person in front of him was his senior brother from the same sect. His strength was something that he looked up to, so he didn't dare to be the slightest bit negligent. Yes. In that case, he is doing a mission called Collecting Spiritual Stones on behalf of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. The reason why Xia Zhili asked him to do this mission might be for the extraterrestrial ink meteorite? Senior brother Niu nodded and asked. That's what the information from the Qin family said. Qing Zhongfan said, moreover, it said that someone saw him coming out of the cultivation city of the Paoli clan. The extraterrestrial ink meteorite inside was taken away by someone. It's most likely with him. Did he not give the extraterrestrial ink meteorite to Xia Zhili? Senior brother Niu was rather cautious. I don't think so. He was exposed as soon as he returned. He probably didn't make it in time. Moreover, when he escaped, he deliberately picked up a bag and ran. If the item in the bag wasn't that important, why would he risk his life to take it away? Qing Zhongfan said, therefore the Qin family deduced that the extraterrestrial ink meteorite might still be with Xiaoqin. Yes. If that's the case, I'll personally kill this brat. In order to verify the attitude of those people, the sect might have to take a risk. Senior brother Niu seemed to have made up his mind and made a decision. Good. Aren't you afraid that the sect will be implicated? Qing Zhongfan asked carefully. You've been stirring up trouble all these years, but I've never seen you deal with him. In the end you've been seen through. Do you think you haven't been exposed? Moreover, for the extraterrestrial ink meteorite it's worth it. Senior brother Niu glared at Qing Zhongfan and snorted coldly. Master is very dissatisfied with you. Junior brother is guilty. Qing Zhongfan hurriedly lowered his head. Then tell me, where is Xiaoqin? Senior brother Niu asked with a wave of his hand. Xiaoqin is back. I think he'll definitely return to the Xiao family. We'll wait for him at the Xiao family. Qing Zhongfan suggested. Then what are we waiting for? Why aren't we leaving? Senior brother Niu turned around and was about to leave. Wait, senior brother Niu. I've prepared a sumptuous dinner in the restaurant. After we eat, we can go to the Xiao family. Qing Zhongfan said with a flattering smile. By then maybe Xiaoqin will have already gone back. We won't have to wait for him. Okay. Lead the way. Senior brother Niu was quite satisfied with Qing Zhongfan's tactfulness. Although Qing Zhongfan seemed to be superior in the sect, his life was actually very poor. In the sect, he ate rice from a big pot, vegetables and carrots every day. Even if there was meat, it was the same stewed meat or meat with sauce. He had long been tired of eating that. Now that he was in the secular world, he wanted to have a good taste of fresh seafood. After returning from the market, Xiaoqin began to busy himself in the kitchen. In the living room, Qing Minjing was giggling unconsciously. Cousin Minjing, you've laughed so many times today. Are you happy that your cousin-in-law is back? Jean Beibei squinted at Cheng Menjing. I just think that it's funny on TV. Is there a problem? Cheng Menjing glared at Jean Beibei. What does his return have to do with me? I'm nobody to him. Aren't you his fiancée? Jean Beibei asked. Probably not very soon. Cheng Menjing squinted at Jean Beibei, somewhat annoyed. What do you mean? Your family is going to arrange another engagement for you? Jean Beibei was somewhat surprised. Then she raised her voice and shouted at the kitchen. My cousin-in-law, somebody is going to steal your wife. Cheng Menjing covered Jean Beibei's mouth. Will you die if you don't talk? I'll suffocate, Jean Beibei mumbled. In the kitchen, Xiaoqun did hear Jean Beibei's yelling, but he did not think much of it. He thought that Jean Beibei was just joking. Don't talk nonsense. Otherwise, I will kick you out of the villa, Cheng Menjing warned in a low voice. Ow, ow, ow. Jean Beibei nodded. It was not until then that Cheng Menjing let go of her hand. The dinner in the villa was quite sumptuous. Xiaoqun was indeed very fast in cooking. After all, even if it was his first time cooking, he could make it extremely delicious as long as he injected some of his spiritual energy into it. Xiaoqun also told the three of them some interesting things that happened to him after he went to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, as well as some soul-stirring stories. The three of them all pricked up their ears and even forgot to eat. Jean Beibei was the only one who enjoyed eating and listening. Cheng Menjing and Jean Beibei might not understand what was going on in the martial arts circle, but Yi Xiaoya widened her eyes. She did not expect that Xiaoqun had already started to get in touch with the martial arts circle and had even participated in the martial arts mission. While they were having a good time, senior brother Niu, who had eaten and drunk to his heart's content, went to the Xiao family under the lead of Cheng Zhongfan. The Xiao family had not received any notice yet. After all, whether Xiaoqun was wanted or not, it was carried out in the warrior guild, and none of the members of the Xiao family worked in the warrior guild. The Chinese New Year was coming and the Xiao family was full of joy every day. Xiao Yuanshan looked at the lively Xiao family and was very happy. He felt a little regretful that Xiaoqun was not at home, but it was 100 times better than the Xiao family he had expected. At the beginning he was poisoned. In his opinion, the Xiao family would soon come to an end. However, as he recovered from the poison in his body, the Xiao family became better and better. They had established a cooperation with the Xia family, and everything was on the right track. However, the only thing that worried him was Xiaoqun. Although Xiaoqun seemed to be fine, it was just a temporary measure. Who knew what would happen in the future? When he thought of it, Xiao Yuanshan could not help but feel a little worried. There was also his missing son, Xiao Feng, who had not been heard from. He did not know whether he was dead or alive. When he was thinking about it, a servant suddenly came to report. Old Master Xiao, Cheng Zhongfan of the Cheng family, came with a very arrogant man outside. He shouted that he wanted young Master Xiaoqun to come out. Otherwise they would destroy the Xiao family. Chapter 665. What? Xiao Yuanshan was shocked. He didn't think that the Cheng family would send people over, and they even dared to make a ruckus. This made him frown. Inform Xiao Hai to come over, I'll go take a look first. Yes, old master, they're in the guest hall. The servant said. Xiao Yuanshan strode towards the guest hall. Now that his poison had recovered, his strength had also recovered to stage 9 inner force. Not only that, he already had signs of breaking through, and was about to reach the peak of stage 9. Now that his strength had recovered, Xiao Yuanshan's body naturally had a domineering aura. He didn't hide his strength and directly walked into the guest hall with a gloomy face and said coldly, I heard that someone is causing trouble in my Xiao family? Causing trouble? Senior brother Niu looked at Cheng Zhongfan with a strange expression, and said with a faint smile, Junior brother Cheng, are we here to cause trouble? Haha, we're here to cause trouble. This old fart thinks that we're here to act tough. How interesting. Cheng Zhongfan also looked at Xiao Yuanshan mockingly. Ah, old thing, you're about to reach the peak of stage 9 inner force? That's really not easy. Cheng Zhongfan, what's the meaning of this? Xiao Yuanshan didn't think that Cheng Zhongfan, who was at the peak of stage 9 inner force, actually didn't take him seriously. This made him angry and also a little suspicious. Could it be that this guy had even more powerful strength? Nothing much, I've already said it very clearly. Tell Xiaoqun to appear immediately, or we'll annihilate the Xiao family. As he spoke, Cheng Zhongfan didn't hide it anymore. He had been suppressed for too long, and it wasn't easy for him to reveal his strength in the secular world. He already couldn't wait to reveal his stage 3 Devil Master strength. What? Stage 3 Martial Master? Xiao Yuanshan felt the overbearing aura, and his heart suddenly jumped. The expression on his face also became incomparably interesting at this moment, and instantly froze. Xiao Yuanshan would never have imagined that Qing Zhongfan, who had always been a nobody in the Qing family, would actually have the strength of a level 3 martial master. This had completely overturned his knowledge. In this way, the Qing family should already be a part of the real martial arts aristocratic family. Why was it still in the category of an aristocratic family? Moreover, wasn't the second-generation genius of the Qing family Qing Zhongqian? If he had known that Qing Zhongfan had such strength, he would have been the genius of the Qing family and the second-generation heir. Ah, are you surprised? Qing Zhongfan smiled coldly and said, "Do you still think that I don't have the strength to annihilate the Xiao family?" Xiao Yuanshan took a deep breath. Originally, he thought that his strength as a peak 9th-level martial artist could already look down on many of Songning's aristocratic families, but he didn't expect the Qing family to be so powerful. "Why are you looking for Xiao Qin?" Xiao Yuanshan forced himself to calm down and asked. His intuition told him that these two definitely didn't have any good reason to look for Xiao Qin. Of course it's to ask him for something. If he cooperates, I can let him live, but he will definitely be crippled. Qing Zhongfan chuckled. This was something that he had discussed with senior brother Niu before. Because they were going to appear in the name of the sect, they had to leave some leeway in doing things. They could not be too ruthless. If the person behind the Xiao family was really fine and really appeared, then the sect would have a hard time dealing with him. Xiao Qin isn't in the Xiao family. He hasn't been back for a long time. Please go back. Xiao Yuanshan said coldly, "I'm afraid you've come to the wrong place." "It's fine. You can call him and ask him to come back. If he doesn't come back, we will annihilate the Xiao family." Senior brother Niu said indifferently, "I'll give you 10 minutes, hurry up and call." "I can't contact him," Xiao Yuanshan said. "Father, what's going on?" At this time, Xiao Hai also came to the guest hall and saw the 3 people who were at daggers drawn. Especially when he saw Qing Zhongfan's strength, he was instantly shocked. "Zhongfan, how are you a level 3 martial master? You're here? Just as well I can't talk to your stubborn old man." Qing Zhongfan looked at Xiao Hai with some contempt. "Now, you call Xiao Chen and ask him to come quickly. Otherwise the Xiao family will be gone." "You guys are looking for Xiao Chen?" Qing Zhongfan understood. These 2 people came to the Xiao family to threaten Xiao Chen. However, Qing Zhongfan didn't hide his level 3 martial master strength at all. It was obvious that he came with ill intentions. "Sorry, Xiao Chen hasn't returned for a long time." "Can't you hear me calling you?" Senior brother Niu frowned a little impatiently and ordered Qing Zhongfan, "Junior brother Qing, search his phone. Xiao Chen's number must be on it. Call him directly." "Yes." Qing Zhongfan chuckled. With a flash, he arrived in front of Xiao Hai. Before he could react, he had already searched his body for a phone. From the beginning to the end, Xiao Hai did not even have the chance to resist. Or rather, he didn't even have the time to resist. The opponent's strength was too high. Compared to him, the difference was not just a little. There really is. Qing Zhongfan quickly found Xiao Chen's number. However, the phone was locked. He frowned and was about to ask, but suddenly thought of something. He threw Xiao Hai's phone on the floor and laughed. "I almost forgot. Xiao Chen, that idiot, extorted 100 million from me. Coincidentally, I saved his number. Why would I still ask him? Then why didn't you say it earlier? I wasted so much time talking nonsense." Senior brother Niu was a little unhappy. He glared at Qing Zhongfan. "Hurry up and call him." Yes. Qing Zhongfan quickly took out his phone, found Xiao Chen's number and dialed it. Xiao Chen was telling the Missy about his experience in the Hakanamata desert. He didn't expect his phone to ring. He took it out and looked. The caller made him a little surprised. It was actually Qing Zhongfan. "Hello." Xiao Chen picked up the phone with some doubts. "Hello, Xiao Chen. I'm Qing Zhongfan." Sure enough, Qing Zhongfan's voice sounded on the other side of the phone. "Nonsense. I'm not blind. I know you are Qing Zhongfan. Why are you looking for me?" Xiao Chen asked. "Xiao Chen, you are quite arrogant, aren't you? But I won't be able to be arrogant soon. We are in the Xiao family. The Xiao family is about to be destroyed by me." Qing Zhongfan laughed and said, "If you come now, you can still make it. Oh, if something happens to the Xiao family, then you will also be here soon." Xiao Chen said faintly. He wasn't in a hurry. Since Qing Zhongfan went to the Xiao family and called him to threaten him, it proved that this guy didn't want to make a move. If he wanted to make a move, he didn't need to inform him. "Ah, it's not certain who will be here soon. Hurry up. Right, in order to survive and protect the Xiao family, it's best to bring your harvest in the Hakanamata desert. Qing Zhongfan reminded. Xiaoqin responded faintly, but his heart was in turmoil. Qing Zhongfan knows that I got good things in the Hakanamata desert? How did he know? After hanging up the phone, Xiaoqin looked at the nervous Missy Jean Bebe and Yi Xiaoye and said, I want to go back to the Xiao family. Qing Zhongfan threatened me. If I don't go back, he will destroy the Xiao family. Ah. Qing Minjing's face changed. She said subconsciously, Xiaoqin, don't go back. What? Xiaoqin was stunned and looked at Qing Minjing in confusion. My second uncle? He is no longer the second uncle he used to be. He is a member of a martial arts sect. Qing Minjing didn't care about hiding anything. His senior brothers are all masters at the martial master realm? How do you know? Xiaoqin looked at Qing Minjing in surprise. The Qing family shouldn't know that Qing Zhongfan was a martial master. A few days ago, a man who called himself second uncle's junior brother came to visit. He also brought his son with him. He said that he wanted to propose marriage to grandpa. Qing Minjing said hesitantly. Propose marriage to your grandpa? Do you like your grandpa? Xiaoqin asked with a smile. Oh, stop joking. Qing Minjing stamped her feet angrily. Of course it's me. So your grandpa agreed? Xiaoqin asked. Not yet, but he wants to. Qing Minjing sighed and said, Grandpa couldn't refuse the conditions he proposed. This old man said that he wanted to marry you to me. He changed his mind in a second? Xiaoqin was a little annoyed. Qing Tianxiu changed his mind quite quickly. Actually, it was coercion and temptation. It's not Grandpa's fault. Qing Minjing shook her head and said, they were too strong. Grandpa couldn't refuse. And we only found out that second uncle was actually a member of a martial arts sect. He said that he was going to the outside world, but in fact he went to the sect to cultivate. I know this. Xiaoqin nodded. And my father's disappearance has an inseparable relationship with their sect. It's just as well. I wanted to find them even if they didn't come. But their strength. Qing Minjing was a little worried. They are just martial masters. Did I waste the story I told you just now? The number of martial masters who died in my hands is not just one or two. Xiaoqin smiled indifferently. Qing Zhongfan is just a third-layer devil master. I don't put him in my eyes. But you are just a peak second-layer devil master? Yi Xiaoye was a little confused. Even if you have some unique skills to fight against enemies of a higher level, you can't fight against a few martial masters at the same time, right? No matter what, I have to go back and take a look. Xiaoqin stood up. I cannot go back. They couldn't refute Xiaoqin's words. Indeed, the other party had already threatened them. If Xiaoqin didn't go, then the Xiao family was likely to suffer. This wasn't what anyone wanted to see. Then you be careful. My second uncle. Forget it. Qing Minjing wanted to say something, but she didn't say it in the end. Her heart was also very tangled. She felt sorry for Xiaoqin. These things were caused by the Qing family, but she couldn't do anything. Chapter 666. This has nothing to do with you. You and your father are good people. Only your second uncle is AB** starred. Xiaoqin smiled. Don't worry. No matter what, I won't vent my anger on the innocent Qing family, but I'm afraid you're not their match. Qing Minjing said anxiously. That's impossible. Xiaoqin smiled and walked quickly to the entrance of the villa. He got into his Land Rover and went to the Xiao family. Xiaoqin drove to the Xiao family's villa. At the entrance, the disciples guarding the door were surprised to see Xiaoqin in the car, but they didn't stop him. Xiaoqin successfully parked the car in front of the door of the living room. Haha, Xiaoqin, that kid is finally here, right? Senior brother Niu saw that Xiaoqin came very quickly and was very happy. He didn't want to wait here. Xiao Yuanshan frowned slightly. He knew that Xiaoqin would come, but he couldn't stop him. Just now, Qing Zhongfan used his own phone to call Xiaoqin. Even if they didn't agree, Xiaoqin wouldn't listen. Xiaoqin jumped out of the car and strode into the living room. He looked at Qing Zhongfan and senior brother Niu and couldn't help but smile. Isn't this Qing Zhongfan? Why, are you here to die or to give me money? Xiaoqin, haven't you been asking me who the person behind me is? I might as well tell you now. Qing Zhongfan didn't care about Xiaoqin. He pointed at senior brother Niu and introduced him. This is my senior brother Xiaoqin. I heard that you obtained the extraterrestrial ink meteorite in the Hakanamata desert. Hurry up and hand it over. I can consider sparing your dog life. Are you done? Xiao Qin narrowed his eyes and shook his legs impatiently. If you're done, then scram. I'm going home for the new year. Oh my God, Xiao Qin, do you not know how to spell the word death? My senior brother Niu is here, aren't you going to kneel and lick his boots? Qing Zhongfan was stunned and instantly became furious. This was different from what he had imagined. In his opinion, after Xiao Qin saw senior brother Niu, he would definitely kneel down and beg for mercy. This was because no matter how strong Xiao Qin was, no matter how much of a genius he was only a level 1 devil master, at most at the peak of the level 1. Against a level 3 devil master like him, he might have some confidence, but against senior brother Niu? Lick it yourself. Xiao Qin glanced at senior brother Niu and said lightly, his leather shoes are a little dirty. Why don't you go and lick them? You. Qing Zhongfan was infuriated, but he suddenly thought of something. That's not right, why isn't Xiao Qin afraid? Because senior brother Niu didn't show his strength. Right now, maybe Xiao Qin thought that senior brother Niu was a level 3 devil master like him, so he definitely wouldn't be afraid. Thinking up to this point, Qing Zhongfan hurriedly said to senior brother Niu, Senior brother, you have to show your strength. Otherwise, this brat Xiao Qin will think you're here to cheer. Senior brother Niu snorted coldly. If he hadn't seen Xiao Qin enter the house without a bag, he would have already attacked. But now that Xiao Qin was killed, the extraterrestrial ink meteorite wouldn't be easy to find, so he had to find out the whereabouts of the treasure first. In the next moment he fully displayed his level 10 Devil Master strength. In an instant, an earth-shattering devil chi covered the sky, causing Xiao Yuanshan and Xiao Hai to involuntarily take 2 steps back. Their faces were filled with shock. In the secular world, it was usually very rare to see a level 1 martial master. Now, there was actually a level 10 devil master. This simply made Xiao Yuanshan and Xiao Hai a little afraid to raise their heads. He was too strong. Just the aura of his body made them have an impulse to submit, making them not dare to have the slightest bit of resistance. But on the other hand, Xiao Qin was still there shaking his legs. With a face full of disdain he said, Are the two of you putting on a performance of breaking rocks on your chests? Are you done? If you're done, then scram. Of course, although Xiao Qin looked indifferent on the surface, he was incomparably shocked in his heart. This senior brother of Qing Zhongfan really wasn't an ordinary kind of awesome. He was really an awesome senior brother. He actually had the same strength as Xia Zhili and Yang Jianan. Although he was a little apprehensive in his heart, after all, when he was fighting against Yang Jianan, he didn't have any advantage. But now he couldn't show any signs of cowardice. Otherwise, these two people would definitely eat him up. Xiao Qin, are you really stupid or are you pretending to be stupid? Don't you know how terrifying a devil master at the peak of the 10th level is? Aren't you afraid? Qing Zhongfan looked at the calm face of Xiao Qin, and he couldn't stay calm. Isn't it just the peak of the 10th level? What's there to be afraid of? He isn't a big monster. Xiao Qin took out a piece of chewing gum from his pocket and stuffed it into his mouth. Are you two done playing? Good, very good, senior brother Niu. Since Xiao Qin refuses a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit, then we don't need to be polite anymore. Let's just cripple him. I don't believe that we can't force the whereabouts of the extraterrestrial inky meteorite. Qing Zhongfan said sternly. Oh, that's exactly what I wanted. I'll cripple you. I don't believe that you won't tell me why you want to deal with my Xiao family. As soon as Xiao Qian's voice fell, he made a move without warning. A Samadhi True Fire technique smashed onto Qing Zhongfan's head. Ah! Qing Zhongfan was shocked. He covered his head and ran around the hall. He screamed crazily, Senior brother, save me, save me, humph. Insignificant skill. Although senior brother Niu said so, there was a flash of surprise in his eyes. Previously, Qing Zhongfan had told him that although Xiao Qian's strength was low, he was good at a type of fire-type martial arts technique. It was very overbearing. Now, it seemed that there was something to it. But even so, it was nothing to him. Senior brother Niu waved his hand and a mist floated over. It directly extinguished the Samadhi True Fire on Qing Zhongfan's body. Although he looked a little embarrassed, it was not a big deal. Haha, senior brother is still the best. How is it, Xiao Qin? You didn't expect this, did you? The martial arts technique that you are best at is useless in front of my senior brother Niu. Qing Zhongfan laughed proudly. He had been humiliated in front of Xiao Qin before. Now he finally got his face back. My senior brother Niu's martial arts technique is the water-type martial arts technique of the devil cultivators. It is a perfect counter to your martial arts technique. You are finished, right? Are you dumbfounded? Oh, who told you that I am best at this martial arts technique? Xiao Qin curled his lips and drew a long sword from his waist. He said calmly, I am best at using a sword. I will stab you to death, you be *tc. Use a sword? Qing Zhongfan was stunned. Even senior brother Niu was stunned. Previously, the two of them saw a sword on Xiao Qian's waist. Although they thought it was strange, they didn't think much of it. They thought that Xiao Qian was sick. He even brought a fitness sword from a park. They didn't expect this kid to have the nerve to pull it out. Everyone knew that martial cultivators and devil cultivators rarely used weapons. This was because the material of the weapon itself was not good. It could not conduct inner strength, inner force, or devil chi. Therefore, very few cultivators would use such undesirable things. Therefore, when they saw Xiao Qian pull out his sword, senior brother Niu and Qing Zhongfan looked at each other and almost laughed. Ha, Xiao Qian, don't tell me that this is what you are best at? Stop joking. You will know whether I am joking or not soon. Xiao Qian didn't say anything else. He directly raised his sword and stabbed at senior brother Niu. He made a aha sound. In the eyes of outsiders he looked very stupid. Senior brother Niu was stunned. What does this mean? Stabbing with a sword without any technique? I have seen stupid people, but I have never seen such a stupid person. Do you think that a broken sword can do anything to me? Also, it's fine if you really know some ancient sword technique. Senior brother Niu was speechless when he saw that this move was even worse than a park ante. Senior brother Niu didn't dodge. He stood there calmly and watched Xiao Qian stab at him. He could send an opponent of this level flying with a slap. On the other side, Qing Zhongfan suddenly felt that something was wrong. This Xiao Qian never did things according to the rules. However, according to his past actions, he shouldn't be a reckless person. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to endure for so many years. Thinking of this, he felt a little worried for no reason. He quickly shouted, Senior brother Niu, be careful. Quickly kill this kid. I understand. Senior brother Niu's heart trembled. Although he looked down on Xiao Qian, he didn't think that Qing Zhongfan was talking nonsense. His expression froze. When Xiao Qian's sword stabbed at him, he directly waved his left hand and slapped away the sword in Xiao Qian's hand. He sneered and said, Too naive. Do you think that a handicraft can kill people? I really don't know what your brain is made of. When the sword flew away, Xiao Qian couldn't help but sigh. His expression was a little stagnant, and his whole body seemed to be stunned. He stood in front of senior brother Niu and didn't dodge. Senior brother Niu didn't stay idle after mocking Xiao Qian. He directly slapped out his right palm and attacked Xiao Qian's mouth. He suddenly shouted, Water pattern shattering palm. As if he had recovered from the panic, Xiao Qian also slapped out his palm. Boom, the two palms collided and Xiao Qian directly flew out, spewing out an arrow of blood in the air. Senior brother Niu was just about to mock Xiao Qian for overestimating himself when he suddenly realized that his palm was on fire. What? The burning flame hurt so much that senior brother Niu broke out in a cold sweat. He wanted to use the method he used just now to extinguish it, but he didn't expect that the effect would be so little. The fire was still spreading to his whole body. He couldn't help but exclaim, No, that's not the move you used just now. Xiao Qian fell to the ground and spat out another mouthful of blood. There were actually some blood clots in it. It was unknown whether it was the broken internal organs that he spat out or the knot formed. He said in a hoarse voice, I told you that was the move I was the least good at. This is the move I'm better at. Xiao Qian wasn't stunned because his sword was sent flying. Instead, he was deliberately confusing senior brother Niu and then hit him with the fire of the underworld. This person was a 10th level Great Perfection Devil Master. If he activated it through the air, Xiao Qian was really afraid that he wouldn't be able to keep up with his speed. After all, the gap between the two of them wasn't just a little bit. If he dodged it, it would be difficult to sneak attack again. After all, he wasn't a weak chicken like Qing Zhongfan. His figure and speed were both far beyond Xiao Qian's reach. He could only take the risk out of desperation. Chapter 667. However, senior brother Niu's palm also made Xiao Qian feel the power of shattering his heart. Xiao Qian felt a strong force spread from his hand to his internal organs. It was as if his internal organs were shattered at this moment. Xiao Qian did not dare to be negligent. He hurriedly circulated the mantra and began to heal his injuries. Fortunately, he was a cultivator. If it was an ordinary martial cultivator or devil cultivator, he would not have long to live. Even if he did not die, he would be crippled after he was barely healed. This was under the situation where senior brother Niu did not want to kill him and showed mercy. Of course, Xiaoqin was a cultivator. All of this did not matter. As long as he was hanging on, recovery was only a matter of time. After Xiaoqin refined the fire of the underworld, its current power was also limited to below Xiaoqin's level. Therefore, no matter how powerful it was, it could not burn senior brother Niu to death. However, it was obvious that senior brother Niu would have great difficulty breaking free from the fire of the underworld. If it was not for his proficiency in water martial arts and he was constantly fighting against the fire of the underworld, perhaps an ordinary person would really be burned to death after a long time. Senior brother Niu? Qing Zhongfan turned pale with fright. He did not expect Xiaoqin to be so powerful. This fire martial art was also a huge threat to senior brother Niu. However, he clearly saw senior brother Niu extinguish the fire with a wave of his hand. With his level, he could not distinguish the difference between the true Samadhi fire and the fire of the underworld. He only felt that they were about the same. At this moment he could not help but feel very anxious. "I'm fine, don't worry about me." Although senior brother Niu felt that the fire of the underworld was very difficult to deal with, it was impossible for it to cause any harm to him. Extinguishing the fire was only a matter of time. He calmed down and was no longer anxious. "Go and interrogate Xiaoqin about the location of the outer star ink meteorite. He was hit by my heart-shattering water palm. I think he will not be able to make it." "Yes, yes." Qing Zhongfan repeatedly agreed, then quickly walked over to Xiaoqin barking, "Xiaoqin, hurry up and tell me where is the outer star ink meteorite?" Xiaoqin glanced at him and ignored him. He continued to heal his injuries. Qing Zhongfan was not a threat to him at all. He was just a clown. Xiaoqin was worried about that senior brother Niu. That guy was very strong. If he did not get rid of him, he would always be a hidden danger. Therefore, Xiaoqin had to recover some of his strength first. "Kid, say something." Qing Zhongfan shouted angrily. "Qing Zhongfan, that's enough. Your Qing family wants to completely shed all pretense of cordiality with my Xiao family?" Xiao Yuanshan, who was at the side, after losing senior brother Niu's pressure, also stood up and asked angrily, "Xiao family? They are not fit to be mentioned in the same breath as our Qing family." Qing Zhongfan arrogantly looked at Xiao Yuanshan. "Do you really think that you and my Qing family are in-laws? Let me tell you, Qing Minjing is about to marry into our Jianghu sect. Your Xiao family is shit." "You." Xiao Yuanshan was furious. He subconsciously wanted to fight with Qing Zhongfan. From his point of view, Xiao Chen's internal organs had been beaten out. Obviously he would not be able to live. And senior brother Niu had also confirmed this point. Xiao Yuanshan had originally seen the hope of the Xiao family rising up. Now that this hope had been shattered, he did not want to live anymore. "I'll fight it out with you. Old fart, you're not worthy." Qing Zhongfan calmly prepared to receive the attack, but he did not expect that Xiaoqin suddenly stood up and slapped Qing Zhongfan's face, directly sending him flying. Half of his face also became a bun. Xiaoqin walked over and stepped on Qing Zhongfan's face. "What you said is right. Your Qing family is shit. If it wasn't for Minjing's face, do you think your Qing family can still exist? How is that possible? How can you be fine?" Qing Zhongfan subconsciously stretched out his hand to cover his face. In the end, his finger was stepped on by Xiaoqin, causing him to cry out in pain. "Why would I be fine?" Xiaoqin asked back. The strength of his foot didn't decrease at all. He almost stepped on Qing Zhongfan's brain. It wasn't that he didn't want to step on Qing Zhongfan to death. He just wanted to leave some face for Qing Minjing. After all, he was a member of the Qing family. If after this time Qing Zhongfan was still so unrepentant, then he couldn't blame him. As for that whatever senior brother Niu, he had nothing to do with Xiaoqin, so Xiaoqin didn't have any misgivings. "Impossible!" Qing Zhongfan roared. He struggled to stand up, but he realized that it was not realistic at all. You're not a peak second-layer fiendish cultivator." "I'm not." "Who told you I am?" Xiaoqin smiled and said, "That whatever senior brother, if you don't want your junior brother's head to be crushed by me, I'll give you a chance. Tell me why you want to deal with my Xiao family. Where did my father go?" "I know my father didn't die in Hakanamata Desert. Don't try to lie to me." The sudden reversal of the situation made Xiao Yuanshan and Xiao Hai dumbfounded. It was obvious that Xiaoqin was about to be beaten to death. In the end, Xiaoqin directly stood up and stepped on Qing Zhongfan. It looked like nothing had happened. It was unbelievable. However, they were very happy and excited. As expected, Xiaoqin didn't let them down. "Senior brother Niu, save me." Qing Zhongfan felt the pressure under Xiao Chen's foot increase. He was about to crush his head. He instantly became anxious. From his point of view, Xiao Chen was extremely daring. He dared to do anything. He even dared to kill Yang Jianan and pretend to be Yang Jianan in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. This wasn't the guts of an ordinary person. Xiao Chen, don't be rash. Let's talk. Although senior brother Niu was fine, he didn't completely extinguish the fire on his body. He could only stall for time. What I can tell you is that I received a mission from the sect to cause trouble for you. As for why I'm causing trouble for your Xiao family, it's because the sect wants to lure someone out. As for the specifics, I'm not sure. As for your father, I don't know. So don't be rash. If there's anything, we can talk it out. I don't want the Outer Star Ink meteorite anymore. You can keep it for yourself. After I extinguish the fire, I'll leave with junior brother Chen. Is that so? Xiao Chen looked at senior brother Niu with a smile that didn't look like a smile. He asked, you extinguished the fire because you want to continue attacking me? Should I consider adding fuel to the fire? You look pretty good like this. You're like a fire in winter. Senior brother Niu gritted his teeth. He knew that Xiao Chen didn't intend to let him go. The fire on his body was almost extinguished. If Xiao Chen attacked again, he would have to waste half a day's effort. If that happened, junior brother Cheng might be trampled to death by Xiao Chen. As he thought of this, senior brother Niu couldn't care less about the fire on his body. He suddenly swung his palm towards Xiao Chen. If Xiao Chen wanted to dodge, he would have to let Qing Zhongfan go. When that happened, he didn't intend to tangle with Xiao Chen. He was prepared to grab junior brother Cheng and run away first. He would wait for an opportunity to turn around and attack again. However, the idea was good, but the reality was cruel. Senior brother Niu saw that Xiao Chen didn't dodge and was stunned for a moment. Then he was suddenly overjoyed. If Xiao Chen was hit by his palm, he definitely wouldn't be able to survive. Although he couldn't force Xiao Chen to reveal the whereabouts of the Outer Star Ink meteorite, this Xiao Chen was so difficult to deal with. It wouldn't be too late to kill him first and then slowly search for it later. Puchi. There was a muffled sound. Senior brother Niu's body froze. Both his eyes were round and bulging. He stared in disbelief at the sword tip that had pierced through his chest. In the next moment, senior brother Niu directly knelt in front of Xiao Chen. That palm of his no longer had any strength left. It fell unwillingly, but he couldn't hold on any longer. He had put all his strength into this palm and fighting against the flames on his body. He hadn't protected his body at all. He hadn't expected that a sword would be able to silently stab him from behind. There was no one. There was absolutely no one sneak attacking him from behind. If there was someone, it was impossible that he hadn't felt it. The only possibility was that the sword that he had sent flying had suddenly stabbed him by itself for some reason, piercing through his heart. Impossible. How could this handicraft? Senior brother Niu clutched his chest and roared in pain. How could this be? Who said that handicraft can't kill people? I told you that I'm best at using swords, but you didn't listen, idiot. Xiao Chen looked at senior brother Niu as if he was looking at a retard and said coldly. No, it shouldn't be. Senior brother Niu spat out these few words and breathed his last. He was usually best at shattering other people's hearts, but he didn't expect that one day he would die from a handicraft sword piercing through his heart. Looking at senior brother Niu who died in an instant, Qing Zhongfan was so scared that he peed his pants. A dirty and yellow water stain appeared under his pants. His whole body was trembling and he no longer had the high spirits from before. He was like a patient suffering from epilepsy. Qing Zhongfan, what happened to you? Xiao Chen couldn't be bothered to step on him. If he did, he would probably be trampled to death. I say, shouldn't you bring senior brother Ma next time? This senior brother Niu of yours isn't very good. He died too easily. I haven't gotten anything out of him yet. Why don't you bring someone else, someone who knows a little more? No more. Qing Zhongfan couldn't even speak fluently. His lips kept trembling. Young hero Xiao, I was wrong. Don't kill me. I'm Qing Menjing's uncle, so I'm also your uncle? Really? Xiao Chen looked at Qing Zhongfan with some amusement. But I heard that Qing Menjing is going to marry someone from your sect? Why don't you bring that person here and I beat him to death? Only then can I marry Menjing, right? Otherwise, since you're already engaged with him, it won't be easy for me to replace him. No, don't beat him to death. I won't marry him. Qing Zhongfan was about to cry. What kind of F***king reason is this? I have to bring someone here to be beaten to death by you? Am I crazy? Forget it, it's really boring. Get lost. Xiao Qin kicked Qing Zhongfan away, and he landed in the courtyard with a whoosh. Then Xiao Qin walked to senior brother Niu's side and pulled out the flying sword. Then he kicked it out and it landed in front of Qing Zhongfan, who was about to escape, scaring him. Take the body away. I have no place to bury it here. Chapter 668. Yes, yes. Qing Zhongfan didn't dare to disobey. His scalp tingled as he picked up senior brother Niu, who died tragically, and quickly ran out. He never dreamed that senior brother Niu, who was at the peak of the 10th level, would actually die like this. He was killed by a seemingly peak 2nd level devil master? Who the F***ck would believe this? No, Xiao Qin was definitely not a 2nd level devil master. He might be a hidden devil general. That must be it. After running away, Xiao Qin let out a sigh of relief. The battle just now seemed easy, but in fact, it was a narrow victory. Without a flying sword, Xiao Qin couldn't do anything to this senior brother Niu, and it was very likely that he would also be unlucky. Brother, are you okay? Xiao Qin just turned around and heard Xiao Zhao's voice. A white figure rushed into his arms and hugged him tightly. Xiao Xiao, my body is covered in blood. I dirtied your clothes. Although Xiao Qin's injuries had not completely healed, in order to not let his family worry, he naturally acted as if nothing had happened and joked. I was scared to death just now. I didn't dare to rush in, afraid that I would cause trouble for you. Xiao Xiao was really scared, especially when she saw Xiao Qin being sent flying by senior brother Niu. She almost fainted. It's nothing, just a few clowns. It's not worth mentioning. Xiao Qin smiled and said, Your brother I have endured for so many years. When I erupt, how can I be stepped on by others? It's always me stepping on others. However, when he said this, Xiao Qin was somewhat puzzled. That Yang Jianan was really awesome. Not only did he level up like a rocket, but he was also not afraid of his underworld fire. This senior brother Niu was obviously good at water martial techniques, but it wasn't as easy as Yang Jianan. Hee, I knew it. Brother, you're the best. Xiao Xiao couldn't help but smile after hearing this. Xiao Qin, you're a general now? Also, have you been to the Hakanamata desert? Xiao Yuanshan looked at Xiao Chen with some surprise. No, I'm just an ordinary demon master at the peak of the 2nd layer. However, I have some methods that allow me to fight enemies of a higher level. Xiao Qin did not put on an act in front of his family. Instead, he told them the truth. I went to the Hakanamata desert. I don't think father died there. So, I will continue to search. Sai, it was Xiao Feng who went around looking for elixirs because you couldn't cultivate. If I had known that you had been enduring, why would I have gone through so much trouble? Now you still have to go find him. Xiao Yuanshan could not help but sigh. Grandpa, did you really think I was at this level before? When I was kicked out of the Xiao family, I was indeed just an ordinary person. My current strength was just a fortuitous encounter. If I had been like this at the beginning, I wouldn't have had to endure it. How could the Qing family threaten me? Xiao Qin couldn't help but laugh. That's true. Xiao Yuanshan was stunned and then realized that he had thought too much. Xiao Qin, now that you're back, you won't leave, right? Xiao Hai was a little happy. Since your strength is so high, no one will dare to bully the Xiao family in the future. It's true that I'm high, but I found that the enemies we have to face are not only at the level of the aristocratic families, but also at the level of the martial arts world. And my strength is really nothing in the martial arts world. Xiao Qin smiled bitterly. Second uncle, I will continue to look for clues about my father and the mastermind behind this. If these things are not solved, we will not be able to live in peace in the future. What you said makes sense. We can't do anything about your father's matter because we aren't strong enough. We can only rely on you to solve this secret. Xiao Hai nodded. But he won't leave during the new year, right? That shouldn't be the case, but I have to go back to the villa when I have time. Xiao Qin was a little embarrassed. Then I have to visit Tang Tang. Then how would you have time to play with me? Before Xiao Hai could say anything, Xiao Xiao was already unhappy. Xiao Qin has something important to do. Furthermore, I didn't play with you during the past New Year's. Xiao Hai glared at Xiao Xiao and reprimanded. What's the point of looking for a woman? Xiao Xiao muttered unhappily. What's wrong with you? Xiao Zhao's words made Xiao Hai blush, not because of Xiao Qin, but because he felt that Xiao Xiao shouldn't talk back. Brother, I'll go with you. Xiao Xiao said, I can help you check. I don't want my sister-in-law to be unruly and willful in the future. Hee, do whatever you want. Xiao Qin had no choice but to agree. The news that Qing Zhongfan was humiliated by the Xiao family quickly spread throughout Songning City. Although the Qing family deliberately concealed it, how could this kind of thing be concealed? The Xia family soon learned about the Xiao family. When the Xia family learned about it, it naturally spread throughout Songning City. Although they were shocked at how deep the Qing clan's foundations were, to be able to have a martial master expert without anyone knowing, and to even have connections with the people of the pugilistic world, they were even more shocked at Xiaoqin. A good-for-nothing, a profligate son that no one cared about, was actually a martial master expert as well. He was even able to kill a demonic master at the peak of the 10th layer. What level was this? Of course, Yang Jianan, who was far away at the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's headquarters, also got the news, but he was dismissive. Xiaoqin could kill a devil at the peak of the 10th level? Don't talk nonsense. He was chased by me and jumped off a building like a stray dog. If he really had that ability, why didn't he fight back? Therefore, in Yang Jianan's opinion, it was completely a one-sided boast from the Xiao family. This news was not confirmed by the Qing family. He laughed a few times and deleted the intelligence email sent by the Qin family. Xiaoqin, you idiot. Do you think that I will let you go if you create momentum in Songning City? Stop dreaming. When I have the time, I'll go and kill you. Yang Jianan shook his head, but he was really busy recently. He just took over the position of the deputy director of Team C. He had been busy handing over responsibilities. Deputy Director Yang, this is the information you wanted. Xia Shibin knocked on the door and walked in. He put a stack of documents on Yang Jianan's table. Why are you so slow? Damn, didn't I say it before? Call me Director Yang in private. Don't use the word deputy. Sooner or later, the director position will be mine. Yang Jianan looked at Xia Shibin and sneered, your matter is not over yet. You are now under investigation and can't leave the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Do you know who fought for this result for you? Why are you so hesitant to do something? Yes, I'm sorry, Director Yang. I will be faster next time. Xia Shibin was sullen. *MN, you asked me to assassinate Xiaoqin. Something happened. Not only did I not get rid of the matter, but I only managed to exchange for a stay on duty for investigation. If the investigation results in the end, I will still be finished. Besides, I am the deputy team leader. Are you not satisfied with running some errands all day long? Do you think it is easy for me to get these documents? I have to run up and down to collect them. You are good. Everything is my fault as soon as you open your mouth. Okay. You can leave. The situation has been tense recently. You should take care of yourself. Otherwise, I can't help you. Yang Jianan waved his hand and gestured for Xia Shibin to leave. Xia Shibin was angry. I have worked so hard to help you. In the end, you want me to take care of myself. Is there such a shameless person? However, he didn't dare to say much. He could only say, yes, Director Yang. I will leave now. He is just a follower. Didn't I give him today's position? He is doing things slowly. I don't know what he is thinking. Yang Jianan smiled coldly. He didn't wait for Xia Shibin to leave before he said unhappily. Xia Shibin's body trembled, but he didn't say anything in the end. Wang family of Outlander. So, that Xiaoqian is actually Xiaoqin? Not the current Yang Jianan? Wang Tietio squinted his eyes and looked at the investigation report that Wang Benbin gave him. Yes, father. That Yang Jianan is fake. His original name is Xiaoqin. He is the son of an ordinary family in Songning. Wang Benbin said, I don't think he is worthy of Xinxin, so I think it is better to forget about this matter. Forget? Forget your mother. Wang Tietio slammed the table and said angrily, Xinxin has been slept with by someone. You want to forget about it? If this gets out, how will others look at our Wang family? How will they look at me, Wang Tietio? Father. I have already taken Xinxin to the hospital for a checkup. There is no such thing. Even if there is, it is very common in big families. Look at the children of other families. Which one of them isn't crazy before marriage? It is nothing. It doesn't affect. Wang Benbin was quite satisfied with Yang Jianan. After all, Yang Jianan's position was there. But now he suddenly became the son of an ordinary family. He wasn't a member of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Of course, Wang Benbin wasn't satisfied. In his opinion, it was better to marry his friend's son. Well, after a while, after the new year, let's go to the Xiao family to force the marriage and settle this matter. Wang Tietio waved his hand and didn't give Wang Benbin a chance to refute. Yes. Wang Benbin was a little helpless, but there was no other way. In his opinion, if the woman took the initiative to propose, it was a shameful thing. Moreover, he was from the real martial arts family, and the other party was from an ordinary family. The gap was huge. It was simply embarrassing. Wang family in Lan Xinxin's room. Wang Fantian had already returned. He was looking at his sister with a smile. Xinxin, I heard that you slept with boss Xiaoqin? Haha, then I will call him brother-in-law in the future. Brother, don't joke. He is no longer a member of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. It is not certain whether father will agree. Lan Xinxin didn't know why, but she was looking forward to this marriage. Not only did she want to be responsible for Xiaoqin, but she thought that Xiaoqin was a good person. Being with him was a relatively easy thing to accept. Haha, it doesn't matter whether father agrees or not. As long as grandpa agrees. Wang Fantian laughed indifferently. Chapter 669. Right, I suddenly remembered something. That girl, Xiaoqin's boss, doesn't only have you as his girlfriend. You have to be mentally prepared. Otherwise, you may be at a disadvantage. Lan Xinxin was stunned, and then her expression was a little painful. You see, I just said it and you're not willing? Wang Fantian was stunned. Based on his understanding of his sister, she shouldn't be the kind of person who likes to be jealous. What happened today? Aya, what should I do? I thought that if his part is broken, I will accompany him to compensate him. But what about his girlfriends? Will they be angry and leave him? Lan Xinxin and Wang Fantian's thoughts were totally different. What nonsense! Wang Fantian was stunned. What are you talking about? I was on the plane. I broke Xiaoqin's part. Lan Xinxin said anxiously. Broke it? What did you break? Wang Fantian was inexplicable. It's down there. Although Lan Xinxin was tough, there were some topics that she couldn't talk about with her brother. Wang Fantian was a little stunned at first, but then he suddenly understood. What? You broke the boss's D***CK? Both of you shook the plane? How big did it have to be for it to be broken? Could it be that the plane encountered a cold wave and became bumpy? No, it's me. Anyway, I don't understand. In short, it's broken. Lan Xinxin didn't explain. How do you know it's broken? Wang Fantian asked curiously. I heard a cracking sound. It broke. Lan Xinxin said. Oh. Wang Fantian saw that Lan Xinxin didn't seem to be willing to say it, so he didn't ask much. He was just puzzled. Xiaoqin seemed to be able to heal people. Could it be that his D***CK's injury couldn't be healed? Sure enough, Wang Fantian and his sister soon received the family's grandfather's decision. They were going to the Xiao family to force a marriage. Lan Xinxin was a little shy, but Wang Fantian was very happy. He could also follow them back to Songning City, and he could meet Xiaoqin again. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, it was New Year's Eve. On this day, the streets of Songning City were decorated with lanterns and streamers. The Xiao family was having the most lively family year in recent years. In the past, Xiaoqin didn't have any strength, so he was unhappy every day and didn't interact much with the Xiao family. And because Xiao Yuanshan was poisoned, the Xiao family didn't have much of a mood to celebrate. So they just did some simple decorations and received visitors. There wasn't much of a New Year atmosphere. But it was different this year. The Xiao family was getting better and better. This year it had to be lively. Unlike the Xiao family, the Qing family, as the first aristocratic family in Songning, had a strange atmosphere at this time. Qing Tianqiu sat high up on the armchair. Although Qing Zhongfan was already a third-layer devil master, he was still standing below. Beside him were Qing Zhongming, Qing Menjing, and Qing Mingxiang. At this moment, Qing Mingxiang's injuries had healed, but his face was a little pale. He was scared. Xiaoqin could even kill a 10th-layer devil master. He was really merciful to him back then. Now that he thought about it, Xiaoqin probably didn't kill him because of Qing Menjing. This guy didn't care about anything. He even killed people from the martial arts sections. He was simply unscrupulous. Qing Zhongfan, it's fine that you hid your strength. You have your difficulties. But dealing with the Xiao family, why didn't you tell me in advance? Now that something has happened, what should we, the Qing family, do? Our Qing family has lost face in Songning. Qing Tianqiu said angrily. I'm sorry, father. I didn't expect Xiaoqin to be so powerful. Qing Zhongfan was a little depressed. He really didn't expect it. If he had thought of it, he wouldn't have acted so rashly. Xiaoqin is Xiaochang. How can he not be powerful? Qing Tianqiu said angrily, look at you messing around. Isn't the engagement I arranged for Menjing a good one? With Xiaochang's help, It's only a matter of time before our Qing clan surpasses the Jianghu clan. Now so many problems have arisen. This. Qing Zhongfan listened to his father's words and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It was Yu who wanted to break off the engagement, but he didn't dare to say it. Although he didn't care about the secular Qing family if they really broke off, he couldn't kill his father and let his son succeed, right? Then the Qing family would be completely famous. He would return to the sect in the future, but he had to make arrangements for his son, so he could only say, "It's useless to regret now. We promised my junior brother that we would marry Minjing to him. If we go back on our words now, it is tantamount to going against the sect. Then you and Xiaoqin won't go against each other? Xiaoqin is an existence who can easily annihilate us." Qing Tianqiu snorted coldly. "We can only let the sect deal with it." Qing Zhongfan said, "Senior brother Niu is dead. The sect will not let it go. They will definitely find Xiaoqin for revenge. As long as the Xiao family is dead, there is nothing to be afraid of." Qing Minjing stood aside, her hands tightly pinching the corner of her clothes. She wanted to say something, but she also knew that whatever she said wouldn't help the family. It was better not to say anything and tell Xiaoqin all the news she knew. "Father, I think our Qing family can't continue to make mistakes. Our top priority now is to apologize to the Xiao family, repair the relationship between the two families, and continue to fulfill the engagement. Otherwise, I'm afraid, the Qing family will be doomed in the end," Qing Zhongming said. Well, Qing Tianqiu was thinking about Qing Zhongming's words. It made some sense. After all, the Qing family's foundation was in Songning City. It was really not good to have the Xiao family as an enemy. Qing Tianqiu really didn't have much confidence to pin his hopes on Qing Zhongfan's sect. Senior brother Niu was so powerful, but wasn't he killed? "Father, how can we reconcile with the Xiao family? There's no chance. The Xiao family and the sect are already mortal enemies. If we get close to the Xiao family, we will definitely be implicated." Qing Zhongfan saw that his father was changing his mind and immediately said, "This senior brother Niu of the sect is only average. This time, I think the sect will definitely send a martial general level expert to surround and kill Xiaoqin." Martial general? Qing Tianqiu was shocked. According to the rules of the martial arts world, martial general level experts are not allowed to fight in the secular world, right? How dare your sect? Of course there's a reason. Since Xiaoqin was able to kill senior brother Niu, it means that Xiaoqin is also a martial general level expert. He's at least a martial general level expert. Furthermore, he's not from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, so the sect has the right to retaliate against him. He was the one who killed senior brother Niu first. Since he's also a martial general, it makes sense for us to send a martial general," Qing Zhongfan said. Qing Tianqiu's expression changed. If Qing Zhongfan's sect really sent a martial general level expert, then the Qing family really wouldn't be able to deal with it. At that time, the Qing family would really be buried together with the Xiao family. This wasn't something he wanted to see. Thinking of this, Qing Tianqiu could only nod helplessly and said, "Zhongming, what Zhongfan said makes sense. Things have already developed to this point. The Qing family can only advance and retreat together. It's impossible to mend our relationship with the Xiao family." But Qing Zhongming was somewhat unwilling. "Alright, it's decided. Before Minjing's sect comes to pick up the bride, she'll stay with the Qing family. Don't go out and don't meet with Xiaoqin again." Qing Tianqiu made the final decision. "Father, Xiaoqin is your benefactor. You." Qing Zhongming still said with some reluctance. "I know this, but there's no other way. I can't just watch the Qing family die, can I?" Qing Tianqiu sighed. "No matter how powerful Xiaoqin is, he's just one person. It's impossible for him to go against the martial general of the sect." But Qing Zhongming still wanted to say something. "No buts, it's decided." Qing Tianqiu waved his hand and said, "I'm tired. I'm going to rest for a while. Call me when the reunion dinner is ready." After saying that, Qing Tianqiu stood up and strode away, leaving Qing Zhongming with a helpless face and Qing Minjing with her head lowered. Qing Zhongfan also left with Qing Mingqiang. From the beginning to the end, he didn't look at Qing Zhongming again. In his opinion, Qing Zhongming was no longer a big deal. He had no right to speak. "Minjing, don't worry. I'll think of a way to talk to your grandfather." When Qing Zhongming said this, he didn't have much confidence. He didn't expect that his father would listen to Qing Zhongfan's advice after he got into such a big trouble. However, he didn't expect that Qing Tianqiu didn't listen to him. He had no choice but to do this. Because the Cheng family was inevitably involved in the battle between Qing Zhongfan's sect and the Xiao family. If they backed down and sided with the Xiao family, they would die together with the Xiao family. In order to protect themselves, they could only rely on the sect. Cheng Tianqiu didn't think that Xiao Qin could survive the siege of masters at the level of military generals. As long as Xiao Qin died, the Xiao family would collapse. Therefore he had no choice but to do this. No, Dad. Grandpa has made up his mind. Qing Minjing shook her head. But I think it's a wrong decision. Xiao Qin won't lose? What? Qing Zhongming looked at his daughter in surprise. She was so confident in Xiao Qin? I think the Qing family has made the wrong choice. We will be destroyed by second uncle. Qing Minjing shook her head. She didn't know where her confidence in Xiao Qin came from. However, at this moment she could only support Xiao Qin in her heart. Jin Beibei also returned to the Jin family for the Spring Festival. Golden Fur Lion King also received the latest news about the Qing family and the Xiao family. He frowned and thought about the pros and cons of the matter. Beibei, what do you think the Qing family will do? Golden Fur Lion King asked Jin Beibei, who was watching cartoons in a carefree manner. Oh, the Qing family. They must be courting death, Jin Beibei said. Courting death? Golden Fur Lion King was stunned. Yes. With Cheng Zhongfan's character, he must have gone back to ask for help and called some helpers to teach my cousin-in-law a lesson. Then he was beaten back. Then the Qing family will be finished, Jin Beibei said with a nod. Chapter 670. Oh. The Gold Fur Lion King was dazed for a moment. Then he slapped his thigh and said, "Why didn't I think of that? I've been thinking about how the Xiao family should deal with the situation and how to solve the problem, but it never occurred to me that the Qing family might be the loser." That's right. Cousin Minjing is so pitiful. She has no right to speak at home. Her grandpa doesn't listen to her either. She must be in big trouble, Jin Beibei complained. Then do you think the Jin family should help them? Jin Beibei's words made the Gold Fur Lion King see the light. Therefore he asked for her opinion. We can't help them. They are fighting in the martial master level. Grandpa, you are still too weak. Jin Beibei said. Ah, who said I'm weak? The Gold Fur Lion King suddenly laughed. His aura spread out. It turned out that he was in the first level of martial lord. Jin Beibei was dumbfounded. She looked at her grandpa in a daze. She had never known that her grandpa was a martial lord. Before, he was not just a martial master? How did he skip the martial master level? Your grandfather was originally a genius of the younger generation in the sect. However, because I was injured, I could not cultivate, so my strength stagnated. Now that my injuries have been healed by Xiao Qin, I have accumulated a lot of experience. These years of accumulation were not for nothing, so naturally I successfully broke through to the first layer of martial general. The Golden Fur Lion King laughed heartily. Beibei, are you very surprised? Gosh, why didn't you help them before? Jin Beibei complained. You're so awesome. If you openly supported the Xiao family, the Qing family would definitely not dare to act recklessly. Grandpa has his own difficulties too. The Gold Fur Lion King's face suddenly turned gloomy. If the news that I'm a martial lord spreads out, the Jin family will have to move back to the sect. The sect does not allow a martial lord to wander in the secular world. After all, I'm still a disciple of the sect. It doesn't matter if I was weak before, but now that I'm strong enough, if I don't go back, it will be an excuse for other sects to attack us. Ah, is that so? Jin Beibei was a little surprised. She had never mentioned some things about her grandfather when he was young. She only vaguely knew that her grandfather had taken root in Songning many years ago and became one of the aristocratic families. Yes, Beibei, you'll have to follow me when the time comes. The Golden Fur Lion King said, actually, this is something that will happen sooner or later. I am mainly afraid that you will not be able to accept it. Fallen leaves return to their roots. As I grow older, I increasingly miss the time when I was young in the sect. Then do we have to go back as well? Jin Beibei asked curiously. My descendants will all be the outer sect disciples of the sect. This is the sect's rule, and also the sect's inheritance. Because I was once a core disciple, so the rules are like this. There is no need to be an outer sect disciple as long as you train in the outer sect for 3 years and do not have any achievements, you can leave the sect. The Golden Fur Lion King said, so you can come back after staying for 3 years. What do outer disciples do? Jin Beibei asked. Fetch water, cook, clean, do some chores and cultivate when you have nothing to do, Golden Fur Lion King said. So it's free labor? What kind of rule is this? Geez. Jean Bebe understood immediately. They were afraid that no one would be an outer sect disciple, so they forced the family members of the core disciples to work in the outer sect. It's not really free. There are training resources distributed every month, Golden Fur Lion King said. Alright, 3 years is fine, but you will be bored to death for the rest of your life, Jean Bebe said. If the Cheng family takes action, Grandpa, will you do it? Bebe, do you want Grandpa to do it? Golden Fur Lion King asked with a smile. If your cousin-in-law is no match for them, you can do it. Then, let your cousin-in-law visit us on the mountain often, Jean Bebe said. On the mountain? Golden Fur Lion King paused. Isn't the sect on the mountain? Jean Bebe was confused. No, why is it on the mountain? Golden Fur Lion King was confused. I saw on TV that all the martial sects are on the mountain. Jean Bebe stuck out her tongue. It's just that one of the school beauty's bodyguards, Zhang Nai Peo, went up the mountain to learn martial arts. Some sects are on the mountain, but many aren't, Golden Fur Lion King said. However, your cousin is a member of the Cheng family. You still call them cousin and cousin-in-law when dealing with your cousin-in-law. That's weird enough. Oh, I'm used to it. Plus, cousin Menjing is the good one. The other members of the Cheng family are the bad guys, Jean Bebe said. Okay, get your father and the others here. I want to call a family meeting. Golden Fur Lion King had made his decision. Or rather, Jean Bebe made him make this decision. In Lan City, in a newly built residential area, there was a high-rise apartment on the 15th floor. Su Chuxia and Tian Shaoring, who had just moved there, lived there. Xiao Qin had left. The two of them lived in the same residential area, and they would always think of Xiao Qin. Although the time they spent together was short, it left an indelible impression in Su Chuxia and Tian Shaoring's hearts. Thinking back on it, the three of them were quite happy. They experienced many things together. One day Tian Shaoring felt nostalgic. He looked at the room opposite him and felt his heart ache. Tears welled up in his eyes. He said subconsciously, Chuxia, why don't we move somewhere else? The new year is coming soon. Su Chuxia was stunned for a moment. Then she agreed without hesitation. My family's new apartment should be ready soon. It's a big, well-renovated apartment. Our rent is about to expire, so let's contact a moving company and move there. Tian Shaoring was just saying it casually. She didn't expect Su Chuxia to agree so quickly. She was a little surprised, but seeing Su Chuxia's disappointed expression, Jean Bebe could guess that Su Chuxia probably wanted to leave this sad place too. The two of them hit it off. They moved into the new house one weekend. It was already renovated and they could move in right away. Originally, the two of them were happily enjoying the joy of moving to a new place. However, this joy only lasted for a few days before they discovered something unusual. Although the room was well lit from the north to the south, the room still appeared gloomy and cold even during the day, especially when they walked out of the house and into the corridor or the elevator. A wave of coldness would hit them in the face. In the beginning, Su Chuxia and Tian Shaoring thought that it was a new house with few people living in it. It was normal for it to be quiet. However, that was not the case after that. They realized that the elevator would sometimes move on its own for no reason. Once, when they came out of their house, they saw the elevator stopped on the 15th floor. When the elevator door opened, there was no one inside. At first, the two of them thought that it was a prank. When they got out of the elevator, they pressed the button for another floor. However, as time went by and the number of times it happened, it seemed a little strange. The two of them in the elevator often didn't press the button for a specific floor, but the elevator would suddenly stop on a certain floor. When they opened the door, there was no one outside. At first, they thought that it was a child who pressed the button for the elevator outside and then left, or that someone took another elevator and left first. However, as the number of times this happened increased, and the floor that the elevator stopped on was not a specific floor but random. Some floors were not even occupied yet. The situation became extremely strange. The two of them were a little scared, so they went to the property management. In the end, the property management carried out maintenance on the elevator. The result of the maintenance was that there was no problem, but the strange things kept happening. Especially one night, the two of them wanted to go out to buy supper. The two of them had been living on their own for a long time, so they were quite brave. It was not a big deal for them to go out in the middle of the night. At this time, the other elevator had temporarily stopped being used at night. There was only one left. The two of them called for the elevator, but it did not stop directly on the 15th floor. Instead, it stopped on the 16th floor. This meant that someone on the 16th floor had also called for the elevator to go downstairs, so the elevator went to the 16th floor first. However, after the elevator stopped on the 16th floor for a while, it returned to the 15th floor. When the elevator door opened, it was empty. At that time, although Su Chuxia and Tian Suruan felt strange, they were in a hurry to go downstairs, so they did not think too much about it. However, after they entered the elevator, they felt a cold feeling in the elevator. Suruan, don't blow on my neck. It's so itchy. Su Chuxia said angrily. Chuxia, Sister Suruan has a cold. She's wearing a mask. Tian Suruan said strangely. Su Chuxia was stunned. She suddenly turned around, but there was nothing behind her. However, she felt like someone was there. What's wrong, Chuxia? Tian Suruan also sensed that something was wrong with Su Chuxia. Seeing the fear on her face, he quickly asked, did something happen? This elevator, seems like someone is in it. Su Chuxia exclaimed. As if someone was cooperating with Su Chuxia, two heavy breathing sounds came from the elevator. Chuxia, don't joke around. Can you not scare people in the middle of the night? Sister Suruan is a patient. If she gets scared to death by you, it'll be over. Although Tian Suruan was brave, he could not help but feel a chill down his spine. Aren't there only the two of us in this elevator? Creak! As the two of them spoke, the elevator stopped. However, it did not stop on the first floor. It stopped on the 4th floor. The elevator door slowly opened. The two of them relaxed. If there was another person coming up, they would feel more at ease. However, when the elevator door opened, there was no one outside. It was pitch black. Ah! Su Chuxia screamed. Ah! Tian Suruan also screamed. The elevator door closed. They continued down to the 1st floor. When the elevator door opened, the two girls scrambled out of the elevator. They were terrified. Chapter 671. The two of them wanted to look for the security guard on duty, but there was no one in the security room at the entrance. It was probably because there weren't many tenants living here, so the security here was very lax. The security guards all gathered somewhere to drink at night. Su Chuxia and Tian Suruan were no longer in the mood for supper. The two of them quickly left the high-rise apartment and walked on the road of the neighborhood. Although there was no one outside, they felt a lot more at ease here. They practically ran out of the neighborhood and arrived at a 24-hour KFC fast food restaurant near the neighborhood. The two of them walked in, ordered something, and sat opposite each other without saying a word. They thought about all the strange things that had happened since they moved in, and how they would often hear the sound of the elevator chains in the middle of the night. Now that they thought about it, it was indescribably strange. Who would take the elevator back and forth in the middle of the night? But sometimes the elevator seemed to be running all night. At least, the two of them didn't dare to go back before dawn. Chuxia, Sister Suruan is a little scared. There seems to be something wrong with this place. After a while, Tian Suruan drank a cup of hot milk tea and calmed down. I know. Su Chuxia sighed. When I bought the house, I heard that this used to be a mass grave, but it was cheap. Where else in Lan City can you find a house that costs 5,000 yuan per square meter? It's so cheap here and I don't have much money, so I bought it here. Then why did you buy it? It's a mass grave. Tian Suruan was shocked and almost spat out the milk tea in his mouth. We're all young educated people of the new era. How can we believe those things? What's wrong with mass graves? Even if it's under your feet now, there might have been people buried in the past. Su Chuxia shook her head. Then how do you explain these strange phenomena? Tian Suruan said impatiently. Chuxia, some things can't be explained by science because science hasn't developed to that stage yet. You're Professor Su's daughter, so you should understand this better. Things that can't be explained by science don't mean they aren't science. Okay. Su Chuxia shrugged. But I've already moved here, what else can I do? Why don't we not go out at night and just stay at home after school? There are still security guards in the morning and night. I guess that's the only way. Why is this a scam? Sister Sour ended up staying in a haunted house. Tian Sour said gloomily. Why don't you buy a villa if you can? Su Chuxia glared at her. You're still picky even though you're living in my house. That's right. Didn't Xiao Chang leave us so many gold bars? How about we sell it and buy a villa? Tian Suruan suddenly slammed the table and said. Sour, do you really want those gold bars? Su Chuxia frowned. That's a dangerous way of thinking. You're a bit of a gold digger. You don't have much of a relationship with Xiao Chang, so how can you spend his money? Who said so? He is Sister Sour's boyfriend. He even confessed. Tian Sour said, it's natural for me to spend my boyfriend's money. Aren't you ashamed? Su Chuxia rolled her eyes. It's fine if you don't spend it. Alright, I remember now. Isn't Taoist Lu Li his little brother? There's something wrong with this building. We can look for Lu Li. Maybe he knows how to catch ghosts. Tian Sour had an idea. Su Chuxia was a little moved after hearing that. Taoists catching ghosts was deeply rooted in people's hearts, so Tian Sour's suggestion was not bad. Then shall we look for Taoist Lu Li? Yes, let's look for him. Tian Sour nodded. I think you should look for him. Su Chuxia thought about it and was a little embarrassed. Aren't you Xiao Chang's girlfriend? It's easier for you to look for him. Tieske, now you know that Sister Sour is his girlfriend, right? He didn't let me sell the gold bars just now. Tian Sour took out her phone and found Taoist Lu Li's Weixin. She sent him a message. I'm here. Sister Sour. I'm looking for you to catch ghosts now. When can you come? After receiving Tian Sour's message, Taoist Lu Li was obviously stunned. After a while he realized who Tian Sour was. Grandmaster's wife, hello. What does catching ghosts mean? Is it hide and seek? No, it's just that my house seems to be haunted. Can you use spells to catch ghosts? Tian Sour explained. Haunted? Catch ghosts? Taoist Lu Li was speechless. Let me try. Although he was a Taoist, he was not the kind of Taoist who was good at catching ghosts. He did not belong to the same sect. What he pursued was cultivation and longevity, while those who caught ghosts pursued subduing demons. Then come quickly. Tian Sour said as she sent the address to Taoist Lu Li. Okay, I'll prepare. Taoist Lu Li was a little helpless, but he could only agree. He turned around and looked for his master, Taoist Taishan. After Taoist Lu Li told him about the matter here, Taoist Taishan was also a little puzzled. He had never caught ghosts before. After all, their sect, starting from in Xiaoma, focused on research and cultivation. Curing illnesses and saving people were just a branch of alchemy. As for subduing demons, they had never studied it. However, since it was Tian Sour's request, the two of them could only pack up. They brought cinnabar, peachwood swords and the like to the neighborhood where they lived. The next morning, Su Chuxia and Tian Sour returned to the neighborhood sleepily. As soon as they entered the door, they saw the security guard. Hey, do you know? There's something wrong with this building. Why weren't you here last night? If you neglect your duty, Sister Sour won't pay the property management fees next time. Tian Sour scolded the security guard. Of course there's a problem. Let me ask you, were you so bored that you played with the elevator in the middle of the night? The security guard ignored Tian Sour and asked directly. Played with the elevator? Tian Sour's eyes widened. When I went to the property management meeting just now, I was scolded by the manager. He said that the public electricity bill of the building I manage exceeds the limit every month. It's tens of thousands of yuan a month. The security guard complained. I went to check the electricity usage records and found that most of the electricity is used in the elevator. Say no one is so bored that they play with the elevator. Why is there so much electricity? That's what we're talking about. This elevator keeps creaking in the middle of the night. We can't sleep well. Is it haunted? Tian Sour said, don't go out at night anymore. Just stay here and watch over whoever is playing with the elevator. Won't it be fine if he catches them? That's what I'm thinking. I must catch this bastard. The security guard said angrily. Forget it, Sour. Su Chuxia pulled Tian Sour. She was already too tired and needed to rest. Tian Sour finally gave up. The two of them walked into the elevator. Then Su Chuxia said, Sour, maybe the security guard is right. It might be some kid's prank. Once he catches the person, everything will be fine. All right. Because it was daytime, the eerie atmosphere was a little better. The feeling in the elevator was no longer the same. The two of them went back to their room and fell asleep. In the afternoon, Taoist Lu Li and Taoist Taishan came. Su Chuxia and Tian Sour woke up and opened the door to welcome the two of them. Great, you're here. Let's go and see what's causing the trouble. Although Tian Sour was woken up, she was still very happy because the strangeness in this building was really torturing her to the point of going crazy. Okay, Grandmaster's wife, we'll go now. Taoist Lu Li quickly nodded and responded. Then he went to busy himself with Taoist Taishan. However, the two of them were busy for the whole afternoon. They walked around every floor but they didn't find anything strange. They could only return to Su Chuxia and Tian Sour's room. There's nothing wrong. We didn't find anything, Taoist Lu Li said. You didn't find anything? Tian Sour was stunned. Is it really a kid's prank? It's possible. Taoist Luli nodded. Forget it. You guys can go back. Sorry for troubling you. Tian Sour felt a little relieved. She felt that what the security guard said might be right. Someone was playing a prank. After Taoist Luli and Taoist Taishan left, Su Chuxia was also a little relieved. However, she still didn't dare to go out casually. Instead, she called for takeout for the whole day. At night, the two of them went to bed early. Because they stayed up all night yesterday, they were especially tired today. Even the sound of the elevator running in the middle of the night couldn't be heard anymore. They slept until dawn. After the two of them got up, they couldn't wait to go downstairs. They wanted to ask the security guard if he had caught the prankster child. However, when they arrived at the lobby on the first floor, there were already some residents gathered there, and they were discussing. Could it be that they caught it? Su Chuxia and Tian Sour both had the same thought. The two of them walked over and heard a neighbor saying, "I told you that the place we live is not clean. There seems to be something, but the property management company didn't take it seriously. They even thought that I was crazy. Now is it good? Did I scare their security guard crazy? Is the security guard crazy?" Su Chuxia and Tian Sour looked at each other. They were very shocked. They didn't expect such an outcome. Yes, I think so too. There must be something wrong with this building. No one lives above the 20th floor. When I come back at night, I often find the elevator stopping at the 20th floor. There must be something wrong. Moreover, the elevator will mysteriously stop at an empty floor. When the door opens, there's no one outside. Isn't this strange? Another neighbor said. Yes. The elevator always creaks in the middle of the night. But as far as I know, there are a total of more than 20 households living in this building. Very few people work the night shift. Even if there are, the elevator can't operate all night. Another person agreed. Chapter 672. Let's go to the property management office. We have to get them to solve this problem for us. Otherwise, we won't pay the property management fees and will ask the developer to cancel the house. A neighbor shouted. Yes, let's go find them. I didn't believe it before, but now the security guards are crazy. The living example is right in front of us. The others also echoed. Chuxia, are we going too? Tian Sour asked. Let's go and see what's going on. Su Chuxia also felt that things were getting weirder and weirder. Is this Taoist Luli lying to me? How can he say that it's fine? This person is crazy. Tian Sour complained. Maybe he can't find anything during the day, or maybe Taoist Luli can't do anything about it. Su Chuxia shook her head. Someone had gone crazy. This was no longer a small matter. She hoped that the property management office could solve it properly. The group of people went to the property management office. The person who received them was a property manager. Actually, the property manager was also numb about this matter. He had never encountered such a strange thing before. He promised everyone to investigate it, but he was actually just reporting it to the headquarters and then contacting the developer to ask about it. After all, this building was not built by them. They were just managing the property. After listening to the manager's analysis, these owners could not do anything. Their agitated emotions just now also calmed down. It was impossible to prove that it was haunted. Even if they found someone to appraise it, they would not be able to find anything, let alone cancel the house. After all, this was not a haunted house. Even if there was a lawsuit, there was no way to obtain evidence. The original mass grave was not a reason to cancel the house. Many residential areas in the city were once graveyards, especially at the edge of the city. Could be said that people were buried step by step. However, after the residential areas were built, there were only a few houses that were really haunted. In the end, the property manager's solution was that it was the elevator that caused the trouble. Why don't everyone vote and agree to cut off the elevator? However, no one responded. After all, if the elevator really stopped, how were these people going to go home? Wouldn't they die of exhaustion going up and down the stairs every day? Knowing that there was no result, these owners could only leave. Su Chuxia and Tian Sour were a little depressed. They bought some fast food and tried not to go out unless there was something important. Sigh, if only Xiao Chang was here. He would definitely be able to solve it. This Taoist Luli is not reliable at all. Tian Sour complained as he got into the elevator with Su Chuxia. There were other residents in the elevator, so it was not as strange as it was at night. The elevator seemed to know that it was daytime. There were many people, so nothing strange happened and it didn't stop randomly. Xiao Chang has his own things to do. How can he stay with us for the rest of his life? Su Chuxia rolled her eyes. Well, since we have nothing to do, let's go and see him. Anyway, I don't want to live in this building anymore. Too scary. Let's just treat it as a vacation, okay? Anyway, Sister Sour is alone, and Chuxia, there's no point for you to celebrate Chinese New Year, Tian Sour suggested. Su Chuxia was really tempted at this moment. Why don't you call Sour and ask about the situation first? Okay. With Su Chuxia's support, Tian Suruan immediately took out his phone and dialed Xiao Chang's number. Yang Jianan looked at the unfamiliar number on the phone. He was a little puzzled, but he still picked it up. Hello, who is this? I'm Yang Jianan. Xiao Chang, it's me, Sister Sour. Tian Sour said. What Sour sister? I don't know her. Are you a salesperson? Xiao Chen had already replaced Yang Jianan's number with Yang Jianan's. Of course, this included the external number. With that, Yang Jianan hung up the phone. However, after hanging up, Yang Jianan suddenly remembered that the person on the other side of the phone said, Xiao Chang. During this period of time at the Supernatural Investigation Bureau headquarters, he took the time to look through the files of the time when Xiao Chen impersonated him. He knew that Xiao Chen used the name Xiao Chang. Could it be that the woman was looking for Xiao Chen? Yang Jianan subconsciously quickly looked up his own file and searched for the word, sour. Sure enough, he found something. So, she's Su Chuxia's best friend. Xiao Chang was her boyfriend before? This is going to be fun. Yang Jianan looked at the records on the computer and pinched his chin. He had a shifty look on his face and he seemed to be up to no good. After thinking for a while, he picked up the phone. Sour, how is it? Su Chuxia asked. Hang up. Say that I'm Sister Sour. He doesn't know me? Tian Sour looked depressed. He didn't call the wrong person. Why did he pretend that he doesn't know Sister Sour? He can't be so heartless, right? Maybe he's busy. You know his identity. Maybe he's carrying out another mission. If that's the case, it's normal for him to pretend that he doesn't know you. He even pretended that he didn't know Wang Fantian. Su Chuxia thought about it and comforted him. That's true. Tian Sour nodded. Then his phone rang. He looked at it and saw that it was Xiao Chang's number. He couldn't help but say excitedly, as expected, Chuxia, you're right? Hello. Sour, I was in a meeting just now. It wasn't convenient for me to answer the phone. What's wrong? What's the matter? Yang Jianan tried his best to sound concerned. Xiao Chang, are you busy recently? Where are you? Sister Sour wants to play with you, okay? Sister Sour misses you. Tian Sour didn't suspect anything and said happily. Of course. I'm in Tianfang province. You guys can come over. Yang Jianan said with a smile, but his heart was filled with a different kind of perverted passion. After he was swapped with a dog kidney, he lost the joy of being a man. In fact, he was unwilling to give up. He had been searching for information during this period of time. However, in his case there were no cases to follow. A normal person who swapped with a dog kidney would have died a long time ago. How could he live until now? Yang Jianan knew that this was also because of the medicine. It caused his genes to mutate, which made him compatible with a dog kidney. However, after obtaining strength, he wanted to obtain more. He wanted to regain his masculinity. Therefore, after searching for a while, he finally came to a conclusion. That was, raping his enemy's woman might bring excitement and enjoyment to his body and mind. Maybe he could regain his masculinity in an instant. He had been thinking about who to start with for a while. The person who was far away but close at hand was Song Huawu, but he couldn't make a move. He almost killed Song Huawu previously. If he made a move now, it would be difficult if Song Bilian really fell out with him. Now that Xiao Chen's woman came to his door, Yang Jianan was overjoyed. This was simply a godsend opportunity. Tianfang province? Tian Sour heard it and said, why is it so far? Is it in the provincial capital? Yes, it's fine. I will book the tickets and hotels for both of you. Then when you arrive, I will pick you up at the airport. Yang Jianan was afraid that the two of them wouldn't come, so he quickly said politely, and that's good. We will wait for your news. Tian Sour was just sighing casually. They still had to go. Okay, I have booked the tickets here. I will send you the time. Yang Jianan was trembling with excitement. So cool. Wow. Then Sister Sour will go pack up. Tian Sour didn't expect such a change in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. No one informed her, so she didn't notice at all. Danger was approaching. Half an hour later, Tian Sour received a flight booking message from Yang Jianan. She and Su Chuxia didn't want to stay in this haunted place for another moment, so they quickly headed to the airport. In the evening, the two of them arrived at the provincial capital airport of Tianfang province. As expected, when they left the airport they saw Yang Jianan standing at the exit and waving at them. They had only seen Xiao Chang's face on his ID. "Why do you look like this now? You look like a gigolo. You don't look as pleasing as the previous Xiao Chang." Tian Sauer walked over and naturally handed the luggage in her hand to Yang Jianan. She held Su Chuxia's hand and walked to the side. The corner of Yang Jianan's mouth twitched. He cursed in his heart. Xiao Qin is the gigolo. However, he smiled nonchalantly and said, "It's necessary for work. Previously I went to protect you, so I had to appear as Xiao Chang. Now that I'm back at the headquarters, I have to show my real face." "I see." Tian Sauer nodded and didn't think too much about it. "Alright Xiao Chang, have you prepared a feast? Sister Sauer has been starving recently. Look, even her breasts have shrunk from hunger." Yang Jianan glanced greedily at Tian Suruan's curvaceous figure, especially her wheat-colored skin. It was almost the same as the female lead in the adult movies he had been watching recently, and it made his heart flutter. However, what made him depressed was that although his heart was aroused, his lower body didn't have any reaction at all. Still didn't work. Could it be that he rubbed too much when he was fantasizing about Song Huawu? Did it act up after a kidney transplant? "Of course I've prepared money. Sauer, what do you want to eat? It's my treat." Yang Jianan smiled and patted his waist bag. "Of course it's barbecue. Sister Sauer loves barbecue the most." Tian Sauer said. "Alright, let's go. The car is outside." Yang Jianan went to the parking lot with the two of them and got into a business car. He placed Su Chuxia and Tian Sauer's luggage in the car. After inviting the two of them into the car, he got into the driver's seat. After starting the car, Yang Jianan charged out of the airport. At the airport parking lot, he didn't pay the toll. Instead, he pressed the alarm and drove the car toward the railing. The staff was shocked. He came out to take a look at Yang Jianan's car plate number and quickly opened the railing. However, he secretly cursed in his heart. "Even if you're from the special department, you should at least say something. Why did you just charge forward with the alarm?" However, Yang Jianan didn't care at all. When he got on the airport highway, his car speed increased to more than 200 kilometers per hour. However, his speed was completely different from the technical speed Xiao Qin used before. Chapter 673. To put it bluntly, he sounded the alarm along the way and kept asking the cars in front of him to give way. Then he didn't need to drive on the side and just charged forward. Tian Wangchuan was quite excited to be in the flying car, but Su Chuxia frowned and looked at Yang Jianan with a strange gaze. It was the same after they got off the airport highway. Yang Jianan was also domineering in the city. He drove against the traffic, flashed lights and changed lanes at will. If there was a car blocking the road, he would sound the alarm and shout, "Xiao Chang, I didn't expect you to be so impressive here." Tian Wangchuan only felt good and didn't think there was anything wrong with it. However, Su Chuxia felt that Xiao Chang seemed to have changed into a different person. Previously, Xiao Chang was very low-key. Now Xiao Chang was simply arrogant to the extreme. He could be so high-profile even when driving a car. One could imagine how high-profile his usual style was. In fact, Yang Jianan had been riding high recently. He was promoted to deputy director and his strength was also at the martial master level. His self-confidence was simply bursting. Wherever he went, his nose was in the air. The car finally stopped in front of a barbecue square. Yang Jianan took out his phone and dialed a number. Then he shouted, "Xia Shibin, have you booked the private room that I asked you to?" Okay. "Director Yang, you're here?" Xia Shibin said quickly. "We're here. Come down and pick us up," Yang Jianan said. "Wow, such a big barbecue square. How much did it cost?" Tian Wangchuan looked at the luxurious restaurant outside and immediately drooled. "It's okay. Xia Shibin spent money. Give him a chance to treat us. He can't be happier," Yang Jianan said disdainfully. When Su Chuxia heard this, she frowned. She knew Xia Shibin and knew that he was Xiao Chang's subordinate. However, why was his attitude towards this subordinate so bad now? Not long after, Xia Shibin came out of the restaurant and came to the front of Yang Jianan's business car. He opened the door for Yang Jianan and said respectfully, "Director Yang, please get out." As he spoke, he even used his hand to gently block the top of the door to prevent Yang Jianan's head from touching it. He was simply meticulous. Yang Jianan snorted and said unhappily, Don't you know that there are guests behind the car? You should open the door for the guests first. What do you mean by your eyesight? Are you blind? Hurry up. Yes. Xia Shibin quickly went to open the door for Su Chuxia and Tian Soran. After they came down, he said to Yang Jianan, Director Yang, the private room has been booked. It's VIP room 1. The people who came for dinner have been sent away according to your instructions. You did well. Yang Jianan nodded in satisfaction. Xia Shibin curled his lips. Well done, my A**s, I've already paid for them. However, he naturally couldn't say this to Yang Jianan. He could only pinch his nose and accept it. Yang Jianan waved his hand and said to Su Chuxia and Tian Sour with a smile, Order whatever you like. It's my treat. Eat as much as you want. Great, I want this. Tian Suruan picked up the menu and began to order the specialties. Yang Jianan casually lit a cigarette, but Xia Shibin's heart was bleeding. He didn't earn much to begin with, but now all the money from the year-end bonus was gone. Su Chuxia noticed Xia Shibin's expression. She couldn't help but pull Tian Suran's sleeve and said, Soran, that's enough. We can't finish it anyway, it's okay. Xiao Chang has money. Tian Soran said. Haha, it's okay. Just order whatever you like. Yang Jianan laughed. Alright, that's all. Su Chuxia didn't care whether Tian Soran was done ordering or not. She immediately put away the menu and handed it to the waiter. What would you like to drink? The waiter asked. Tian Soran wanted to order freshly squeezed juice, but Su Chuxia said, free herbal tea or mineral water will do. Alright. The waiter was a little puzzled. The person treating them asked them to order whatever they like, but the customer was still trying to save money. Soon the barbecued meat was served. It was very sumptuous. Even if Tian Soran ordered less, there was still enough food. Delicious. Tian Soran was a foodie. Su Chuxia, on the other hand, ate casually. She didn't seem to have much of an appetite. She felt that Xiao Chang had changed. He was no longer the Xiao Chang from before. Although Xiao Chang was arrogant before, he wasn't so exaggerated. In short, she didn't understand why a person's personality would change so much. Looking at the boastful Yang Jianan, Su Chuxia felt that she must have been blind to have become good friends with such a person. If you have any problems in Tianfang province, feel free to look for me. I am now the deputy chief of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Not to mention Tianfang province, even if you have any problems in other provinces, you can look for me at any time. There won't be a problem. Yang Jianan didn't eat. He just smoked and bragged. Right? Does your Supernatural Investigation Bureau also investigate and deal with some mysterious phenomena? Tian Soran asked as he ate. Yes, is there anything I can help with? Yang Jianan said, taking on everything. It's like this. The new house that Chuxia and I moved to is haunted. As he spoke, Tian Soran told Yang Jianan about some of the strange things that happened during this period of time. There's such a thing? Yang Jianan was a little surprised after hearing it, but he didn't think it was a big deal. That's not a problem. I will send someone to investigate it for you. Don't worry, our Supernatural Investigation Bureau investigates these mysterious phenomena. NN. Tian Soran was very happy that his goal was achieved. Su Chuxia was even more disappointed in Yang Jianan. No matter what, they were all very good friends. No matter what, he had to see it personally. In the end, he only sent someone over. This made Su Chuxia feel that Xiao Chang didn't treat them as friends at all. In fact, Yang Jianan didn't have the mood to study these things. He had a purpose. When the time came, he would XX the two girls and buy a new house for them. He didn't care if his previous house was haunted or not. During the meal, Su Chuxia didn't say a word. However, when Yang Jianan suggested that he take them around, Su Chuxia said, Forget it, it's getting late. We just got off the plane and we're pretty tired. We want to rest early, rest well. Yang Jianan was taken aback, but he quickly nodded. He was afraid that the two of them wouldn't sleep so early. He couldn't wait to make his move. I've booked a hotel for you. I'll take you there now. Okay, sorry for the trouble, Su Chuxia said politely. Is it a 5-star hotel? Tian Soran asked. 6-star, haha. Yang Jianan laughed. Yang Jianan rushed all the way to the hotel. This hotel was really luxurious. Although it was not 6-star, it was probably more than a normal 5-star hotel. Su Chuxia and Tian Soran took their luggage upstairs. Yang Jianan said to Xia Shibin, Have you reserved the room next to them? Yes. Xia Shibin quickly handed a room card to Yang Jianan. And let's go up together. Yang Jianan nodded and said, "You did well. I will find a chance after the new year to help you remove the restrictions and let you move freely." "Thank you, Director Yang." Xia Shibin said that, but deep down he was depressed. If I let you out to do things, I can come out. If I don't, I can only stay in the headquarters. The headquarters just wants you to monitor me. As long as you don't monitor me, I can move freely, right? Wow, what a comfortable bed. Tian Soran looked at the round bed in the room and fell on it excitedly. He shouted, "Chuxia, come and try it. This feels so good. It's like going on a vacation." "Sour, get up first." Su Chuxia looked at Tian Sour with a stern expression. Chuxia, what are you doing? Why are you so serious? It wasn't easy to get out of that haunted house. You should be happy." Tian Soran looked at Su Chuxia with confusion. "Soran, didn't you notice that Xiao Chang is no longer the Xiao Chang from before?" Su Chuxia asked. "Not the Xiao Chang from before?" "Yes, isn't he Yang Jianan now?" Tian Soran was a bit confused. "What's wrong?" "I mean, didn't you notice that he has changed? He has become exaggerated and flamboyant. I really don't know if this is his original personality or his previous personality. In short, I don't like the current Yang Jianan," Su Chuxia said. "Chuxia, do you mean that you like the old Xiao Chang?" Tian Soran looked at Su Chuxia mischievously. "Soran, you're still joking with me at a time like this. I'm not talking about that. I mean, I don't like his personality." Su Chuxia frowned. "I don't know if his confidence is inflated because he became the deputy director, but I don't want to stay here anymore. Let's go back tomorrow." Tian Soran was a little stunned. However, after thinking about it carefully, Yang Jianan's personality seemed to be different from before. Tian Soran didn't think so much before and only cared about eating. Moreover, he hadn't seen Xiao Chang for a long time and missed him very much, so he didn't care about those small details. If it wasn't for the fact that Yang Jianan's current appearance didn't match the Xiao Chang in her memory, Tian Soran would have wanted to get close to him. "Soran, if this person's personality is like this, we should stay away from him," Su Chuxia said solemnly. "I understand." Tian Soran nodded. At this moment after Su Chuxia's reminder, she also thought it through. Yang Jianan's current personality was indeed not good. He was no longer the Xiao Chang that she had some feelings for. "Alright, I'm going to take a shower. Let's sleep early," Su Chuxia said. Chapter 674. "Oh, let's go together." Tian Sour said, "We've been bathing together for the past few days. I'm used to it." Okay. Su Chuxia was a little helpless. Tian Sour usually acted like a big sister, but she was actually very timid. She was afraid of being haunted at home, so she always bathed with her. In the next room, Yang Jianan had a cigarette in his mouth. He watched the adult channel on the TV with Xia Shibin. He held the cigarette with one hand and put the other hand into his pants. Xia Shibin was already used to Yang Jianan's wretched and disgusting behavior. Previously, when this guy lived with him, he always fantasized about Song Huawu, but he didn't expect it to still be like this. "Go and investigate and see if they are drugged. Have they fainted?" Yang Jianan's breathing was a little rapid. He was a little interested and wanted to try. "Okay, Director Yang." Xia Shibin quickly stood up. He didn't want to stay here for a long time. It was too boring. He carefully went out of the room and came to the door of Su Chuxia and Tian Sour's room. He knocked twice. There was no response. Xia Shibin tried to knock for a while more, but there was still no response. He then turned around and went to the next room. He saw that Yang Jianan was staring at him, so he quickly said, "There's no movement." "Okay, I heard it. Give me the room card, I'll go and take a look." Yang Jianan stood up, threw the cigarette on the ground, stepped on it, and grabbed the room card from Xia Shibin's hand with his crotch. There were 2 room cards for each room. Previously, Yang Jianan had given Su Chuxia and Tian Sour one, and deliberately kept the other one. Xia Shibin felt disgusted, but he didn't show it. Yang Jianan didn't care about him and strode out of the room. Xia Shibin quickly went to the bathroom to wash his hands. When Yang Jianan closed the door, he didn't even have time to wipe the water stains on his hands. He quickly called Xiaoqin. "Xia Shibin?" Xiaoqin picked up Xia Shibin's call with some surprise. He didn't know why Xia Shibin was looking for him during the new year. "Brother Xiao, something happened. Yang Jianan wants to rape Su Chuxia and Tian Sour." Xia Shibin said in a hurry, "I haven't found a chance to call you. Now I finally have time." "What?" Xiaoqin was a little surprised. "How does Yang Jianan know them?" It's a long story. They came to ask Yang Jianan for help. I heard it's because the new house is haunted. Xia Shibin said, previously he told me to arrange a restaurant and a hotel, but he didn't say who it was. When they came I found out. It was too late to inform you. Now Yang Jianan has already gone to their room. Quickly think of a way. What? He's already in the room? Xiaoqin turned pale with fright after he heard that. He wouldn't be able to make it in time even if he stepped on the firestorm wheels. Songning was thousands of miles away from Tianfang province. Yes, I'm sorry, Brother Xiao. I can't stop Yang Jianan, Xia Shibin said with some distress, but that thing of his is not very useful. I don't think he will succeed. You can still make it if you come quickly. Okay, I'll go there now. Xiaoqin took a deep breath. He didn't bother to say goodbye to his family. He directly opened the window and stepped on the flying sword, speeding in the direction of Tianfang province. Flying in the sky, Xiaoqin still felt that he was a little too slow. At this speed he would probably not be much faster than a plane when he reached Tianfang province. Furthermore, it was impossible for him to travel 1,000 kilometers in an instant as he imagined. Elder Heaven Ancestor, my flying speed is still a little too slow. Xiaoqin said with some regret. Your flying sword is not good enough and your strength is not good enough. How fast do you want to go? Elder Heaven Ancestor snorted coldly and said with some disdain, you are now only at the peak of Foundation Establishment Level 1. If you want to fly fast, you have to at least reach the peak of Foundation Establishment Level 10 or refine a good flying sword. Your current speed is fast enough. But I'm afraid I won't make it in time. Xiaoqin was worried about the safety of Su Chuxia and Tian Sauer. Although Xia Shibin also said that Yang Jianan might not be useful, Xiaoqin couldn't pin his hopes on this. If you can't make it in time, you can let Little Demon and go first. He is faster than you. Elder Heaven Ancestor reminded him. Xiaoqin was slightly stunned and then said with joy, Little Demon and, quickly fly to Tianfang Province's Glorious Star Hotel and look for Yang Jianan. Then think of a way to stop him. Yes, Master. Little Demon and responded and didn't say much. He directly flew out of Xiaoqian's divine sense space. His speed was indeed much faster than Xiaoqian's. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared. Xiaoqin glanced in the direction where Little Demon and left and felt slightly relieved. Yang Jianan quietly opened the door to Su Chuxia and Tian Sauer's room and walked in carefully. He was overjoyed to see that the two of them had already fallen asleep on the bed. He wasn't in a hurry to get on the horse. Instead, he sat at the side and began to fantasize about Xiaoqian's appearance, as well as the scene of Xiaoqin, Su Chuxia and Tian Sauer together. He couldn't go into battle directly because his body didn't have any reaction until now. He could only constantly fantasize about Xiaoqian's appearance. He imagined that the two people in front of him were Xiaoqian's women. Only then could he obtain psychological satisfaction. Only then could he hope to recover. In the dark night, looking at Su Chuxia and Tian Sauer's pretty faces, Yang Jianan's eyes flashed with greed. However, his body didn't have any reaction. This made him feel helpless. At the same time, he felt endless hatred for Xiaoqin. It was Xiaoqin who made him like this. He wanted revenge. Half an hour passed. An hour passed. Yang Jianan didn't get the result he wanted from his fantasies. He stood up helplessly. It seemed like the time wasn't right yet. He turned around and walked out of the room. He quietly closed the door and returned to the room next door. When he saw Xia Shibin watching an entertainment program, he was furious. He immediately yelled, Xia Shibin, what are you doing? You still have the mood to watch these useless things? Director Yang, you're back. Xia Shibin hurriedly turned off the TV. In his heart, he was cursing, what does it have to do with you that I'm watching TV? Go to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau right now and get the medicine. They're in the pharmacy. They have the latest powerful medicine imported from abroad. Get me some. Yang Jianan ordered. But the management of those medicines is very strict. If I go there directly, I'm afraid I won't be able to get it, right? Xia Shibin was in a difficult position. He was already a criminal. If he went to steal, wouldn't it be even more serious? I told you to go, so go. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Don't tell me that the door can stop you. If there's a problem, I'll protect you. Yang Jianan waved his hand impatiently. Xia Shibin had no choice but to stand up and walk out of the room. He quickly went downstairs and drove to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. The Supernatural Investigation Bureau naturally had some of the latest medicine, but these things were used in some special missions. If there were no special circumstances, they weren't allowed to be used, and they weren't allowed to be used at will. Xia Shibin definitely couldn't get it through normal channels, but to take it secretly. He sighed. This young Jianan really dug a pit for him. He simply wouldn't stop until he was dead. However, Xia Shibin did not dare to disobey. He also knew that if he showed the slightest dissatisfaction with Yang Jianan, what awaited him would be complete abandonment. His crime of assassinating Xiao Chen would be confirmed, and he would never be able to get out of it. Xia Shibin dragged his heavy steps into the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. He was also very familiar with the facilities here. He easily avoided the cameras and came to the front of the warehouse. For an agent, it was easy to open this kind of lock. The Supernatural Investigation Bureau didn't guard against agents like them because the quality of these people was still very high. Normally, it was impossible for them to do something like stealing. If he really wanted to steal something, no matter how tight the lock was, it would be useless. He carefully opened the warehouse door, then tiptoed in and searched the rows of shelves. After more than half an hour of searching, Xia Shibin's eyes finally fell on a small bottle. He carefully took it down, then turned around and quickly left the warehouse, returning to the hotel. You're back. Why are you so slow? I don't know why you're dawdling. I'm almost out of interest. Do you know that? Yang Jianan glared at Xia Shibin with dissatisfaction. He grabbed the small bottle in his hand and couldn't wait to look at it in his hand. Xia Shibin couldn't be bothered to explain. He was already used to being Yang Jianan's punching bag. After reading the instructions on the bottle, Yang Jianan opened the cap and poured out a pill. After thinking for a while, he poured out another pill and swallowed both of them together. He then turned on the adult channel on the TV. About half an hour later, Yang Jianan felt a burning sensation in his abdomen. It seemed to have taken effect. He quickly stood up and ran to the room next door again. Xia Shibin looked at his watch and wondered why Xiao Chen wasn't here yet. However, this was all he could do. He couldn't stop Yang Jianan. If he went up, he would only die. Yang Jianan entered Su Chuxia's room again and sat on the chair. He stared at the two beautiful faces and continued to fantasize in his heart. After a while, Yang Jianan was overjoyed. He felt that the medicine seemed to have a miraculous effect. As expected of a special agent, he had a reaction. This made him surprised and happy. He stood up impatiently and lifted the cup that covered Su Chuxia's body. A chill hit her and Su Chuxia subconsciously shivered. She opened her eyes and couldn't help but scream, "Ah!" Chapter 675. Yang Jianan was stunned. Why was Su Chuxia awake? Shouldn't he be under the influence of hallucinogens? He didn't know that she was drugged, but Xia Shibin only used a small amount. Xia Shibin didn't dare to disobey Yang Jianan's orders, but he didn't want to harm Su Chuxia and Tian Yoshi, so he reduced the dosage. Moreover, Yang Jianan had been opening and closing the door for a long time, and the drug in the room had disappeared, so Su Chuxia woke up. "What's wrong, Chuxia? Did you have a nightmare again?" Su Chuxia's scream woke Tian Yoshi up. She asked in a daze. "Yang Jianan, what are you doing here? How did you get in?" Su Chuxia looked at Yang Jianan coldly. Her sleepiness was gone, and all that was left was a cold rejection. She didn't even call Yang Jianan Xiao Chang anymore. She called him by his real name so that she wouldn't have anything to do with him. "Why are you awake? That's impossible." Yang Jianan looked at Su Chuxia in shock. "You guys are okay? Yang Jianan, why are you here in the middle of the night?" Su Chuxia shrank back in alarm. She looked at Yang Jianan with hostility. So what if you're awake? Do you think I can't deal with you two as a martial master at the peak of the 10th level? It doesn't matter, it's even better now that you're awake. The more you struggle, the better I feel. Yang Jianan laughed and started taking off his clothes in front of them. "Yang Jianan, if you continue to mess around, we'll call for help," Su Chuxia said in shock. At this moment, Tian Yoshi woke up in a daze. She looked at the scene in front of her and was shocked. "Yang Jianan, why are you here in the middle of the night? Why are you taking off your clothes?" "Of course I'm here for you guys." Yang Jianan had a lecherous smile on his face. He looked at the two of them lecherously and continued taking off his pants. "Yoshi, you run out and I'll stay here. Yang Jianan can only chase one of us. If he chases after you, I can run. If he doesn't, you run and call for help." Su Chuxia hesitated for a moment before making a decision. One of them had to be sacrificed. Otherwise, both of them would be finished. Being able to run and call for help was the best outcome. "Run." Do you think you can escape? Yang Jianan smiled disdainfully. With my strength as a martial master at the peak of the 10th layer, if you can escape, then my strength would be wasted. Tian Shosho ignored him and nodded secretly. She rushed out of the bed and rushed to the door. But how could Yang Jianan let her do as she wished? With a light wave of his hand, Tian Suruan fainted and lay on the ground not far away. Su Chuxia was shocked. What did you do to Sour? Although Su Chuxia was smart and wanted to let Tian Wangchuan run away so that Yang Jianan would have no choice but to choose someone to watch over him, she had underestimated Yang Jianan's strength. Yang Jianan was not an ordinary person. He was a martial master. With just a slight movement, Tian Wangchuan fainted. Humph, I'll deal with you first, then I'll deal with her. It will save us trouble later. Yang Jianan chuckled nonchalantly. As he spoke, he took off his pants and threw them to the side, revealing only his boxer briefs. Su Chuxia was at her wit's end. She looked at Yang Jianan in fear. Although she was unwilling, she knew that Yang Jianan was not an ordinary person. There was no way she could resist. Haha baby, here I come. Yang Jianan reached out to take off his shorts. He could already feel the reaction from his body. It seemed that this method and the special medicine were very useful. Yang Jianan could already imagine himself regaining his masculinity and galloping to his heart's content. However, just as he pulled down his underwear and raised his head, he suddenly realized that a black shadow had appeared in front of him. What the hell? Yang Jianan was stunned and subconsciously took 2 steps back. The black shadow was in the shape of a human, but it could actually laugh eerily. This made Yang Jianan's body tremble and he almost wet his pants. Even though he was a martial master, he was still very afraid of this kind of sudden and unknown thing. Especially, it was similar to the legendary ghosts. It made him lose interest and become a weakling. What are you? Yang Jianan forced himself to calm down. He stared at the black fog in front of him and asked, "How dare you play tricks in front of me? I'll teach you a lesson." The person who came was in Xiaomo. However, he was not sure if he would be Yang Jianan's opponent. He could only use the method of intimidation and did not attack. After all, Yang Jianan was a martial master. After being frightened for a moment, he regained his composure. He looked at Xiaomo and said, "If you don't speak, do you believe that I won't slap you to death?" And Xiaomo could only let out a strange laugh again. Fire Wolf Divine Fist. Yang Jianan swung his fist. His fist carried hot flames as it swept towards Xiaomo. At this moment, Yang Jianan's strength as a martial master at the peak of the 10th stage was fully displayed. And Xiaomo wanted to dodge, but he was stunned when he saw the Fire Wolf Divine Fist. In the next moment he did not dodge or dodge. Instead, he floated directly towards Yang Jianan's fist. Boom! Yang Jianan only felt that he had hit the air. There was no reaction. The other party did not suffer any damage, but he was heavily punched by the ghost in front of him. Although it did not reach the strength of a martial master, it was almost there. This time he was not injured, but he was hit until he saw stars. He was horrified. What was this thing? His attack had no effect on it, but it was very effective on him. And Xiaoma continued to sneer, but he was laughing very happily. Previously he was worried that he was not Yang Jianan's opponent. However, if Yang Jianan only knew this move, then victory was in his hands. What the hell are you? Yang Jianan took 2 steps back in shock and looked at Xiaoma in front of him in horror. This is the ghost that I asked you to help us catch. It might have possessed me and followed us here. Even though Su Chuxia didn't know what the thing in front of her was, her instincts told her that it didn't mean any harm. In fact, it seemed to be helping her from the moment it appeared. Therefore she came up with this excuse in a flash. Yang Jianan's expression changed when he heard this. Was this thing really a ghost? Previously he thought that someone was playing tricks on him, but now he did not think so. This thing could not hurt him, but it could hit him. If it was not a ghost, then what was it? In the face of this unknown fear, Yang Jianan retreated a little. Even if he was given an expert of the same level, he would not be so timid. He subconsciously took 2 steps back, then turned around and left the room. He said, "I was just joking with you. It's fine. I'll hire someone to help you catch the ghost tomorrow." With that said, Yang Jianan quickly left the room, not caring about Tian Suru and the others on the ground. Xia Shibin was a little surprised when he stumbled back to the room next door. He quickly asked, "Director Yang, what's wrong?" "Turn on the surveillance. I want to see what it is." Yang Jianan pointed at the TV hanging on the wall and said loudly. Ah yes yes. Xia Shibin did not know what was going on, but he still followed Yang Jianan's instructions. He turned on the TV surveillance, and the image of the room next door suddenly appeared on it. Previously, Yang Jianan did not ask to turn on the surveillance to prevent Xia Shibin from admiring him. But now, he turned it on to find out what was on the other side. Seeing Yang Jianan leave, Su Chuxia heaved a sigh of relief. However, she really did not expect Yang Jianan to become like this. A person could change so much. This guy actually wanted to rape her and Tian Suru. This also made Su Chuxia a little puzzled. Everyone had lived together for so long. Although they did not live in the same house, there were still many opportunities to be alone. If he wanted to commit a crime, there was no need to wait until today. What was Yang Jianan thinking? However, these were all in the future because Su Chuxia suddenly remembered that there was a ghost-like existence in front of her. She subconsciously took a deep breath, raised her head, and looked at the ghost in front of her with trepidation. She asked, "May I ask who you are?" "I am the boss's little brother and Xiaoma. I am a ghost talisman demon. Don't be afraid. I'm not a ghost. I am just an existence similar to a martial artist, but in a different form." And Xiaoma introduced himself. "Ghost talisman demon? Then who is your boss?" Su Chuxia looked at him with a strange expression. "My boss is Xiao Qin. Oh, it's Xiao Chang." And Xiaoma introduced himself. "Xiao Chang?" Su Chuxia's expression was even more surprised. "Is that Yang Jianan? Didn't you just scare him away?" That's not Xiao Chang. That's Yang Jianan. It's a long story. In short, there are two people. The one who was with you previously wasn't him. It was my boss Xiao Chang." And Xiaoma said, "What? That person isn't Xiao Chang?" Su Chuxia's eyes widened in surprise when she heard this. At this time, Tian Wangchuan also woke up. When he heard in Xiaoma's words, he stood up happily. "I knew that Xiao Chang wouldn't be like this. It turns out that he's a fake." "Yes, master. Boss is on the way. He will be here soon." And Xiaoma said, "Phew." Su Chuxia heaved a sigh of relief. Sure enough, there was a problem. Through this contact, she could clearly feel that the Yang Jianan in front of her was completely different from the previous Xiao Qin. It was not that she had misjudged him, but that he was not the same person at all. Damn, so it's Xiao Qin's subordinate. Yang Jianan looked at the monitor and slammed the table angrily. He cursed, "I was scared to death. I thought it was a ghost. What kind of ghost talisman demon is it?" Chapter 676. Although he had never heard of the ghost talisman devil, it was obviously just a martial artist. He did not take it seriously. However, he did not know how to deal with the ghost talisman devil. Although he was not afraid, the ghost talisman devil's attacks were quite painful. The key problem was that he could not hit the ghost talisman devil. If he punched the ghost talisman devil and nothing happened, it would be a little F** ket up. If he had gone there before, it would have been quite difficult for him to mount the ghost talisman devil. If the ghost talisman devil was behind him, he would not have the mood and interest. Thinking of this, his face was as black as the bottom of a pot. Damn it, Xiao Qin again. This immoral person, what stupid thing did he come up with to scare me? Really? Suddenly Yang Jianan slapped his thigh and ordered, "Xia Shibin, help me restrain the ghost talisman devil later and then I'll go." Me. Xia Shibin was stunned. No way. Something happened again? Why do I have to do this kind of rubbish every time? Damn, I didn't realize that Yang Jianan was such a scammer. However, now that I think about it, it seems that this guy was quite a scammer in the past. He asked me to do those things. I helped him threaten Lu Jinming, but it was recorded and I was scolded. Xia Shibin suddenly wanted to thank Lu Jinming. Without comparison, there would be no superiority or inferiority. Now that he compared them, Xiao Qin and Yang Jianan, the two bosses, could not be mentioned in the same breath. The difference was too great. Nonsense, if it's not you, it's me. It's good enough that I let you watch a free erotic show. What else do you want? Yang Jianan frowned. If he had a choice, he would not let Xia Shibin watch. Xia Shibin nodded helplessly, thinking that he was really unlucky. Then what are you waiting for? Yang Jianan rubbed his palms and walked out of the room with Xia Shibin. He turned around and went to Su Chuxia's room. Seeing that Yang Jianan had returned with Xia Shibin, Su Chuxia could not help but be shocked. She was so focused on talking to the ghost talisman devil that she forgot to escape. Even if she escaped, where could she go? Don't come over. You are not Xiao Chang. Su Chuxia looked at Yang Jianan in fear. So what if you know? That's even better, I don't have to hide anymore. Yang Jianan said coldly, I'm not afraid to tell you, if it wasn't for that bastard Xiao Qin, would I be where I am today? You're his women, so I'm going to ravage you. How dare you? Although Su Chuxia said this, she was still putting on a brave front. Xiao Chang will not let you off. You won't let me go? I won't let him off. Yang Jianan didn't want to talk nonsense anymore. He waved his hand and ordered Xia Shibin, you go and restrain that demon for me. I'm going to make my move. Yes. Xia Shibin answered. He had no choice but to rush to the ghost talisman demon. Then, with his back to Yang Jianan, he winked at him and mouthed to him. Although the ghost talisman devil was no match for Yang Jianan, Xia Shibin could defeat 3 of them. Wouldn't he be killed? And Xiaoma looked at Xia Shibin, who was winking at him. He knew that this guy used to be Xiao Chen's subordinate, but in the end he was still Yang Jianan's subordinate. What did this expression mean? What was he hinting at? Looking at his mouth, he seemed to be saying, I'm boss Xiao Chen's man. I had no choice. I'm now a spy. Is he trying to fool me, or is it true? Seeing that Xiaoma didn't seem to believe him, Xia Shibin continued to mouth. I just informed boss Xiao Chen. That's why you can come so quickly. This time Xiaoma completely believed it. He was in Xiao Chen's divine sense space. He wasn't as powerful as the elder heaven ancestor. He couldn't sense the situation outside, so he couldn't hear Xia Shibin's phone call. However, since Xiao Chen knew about this, someone must have secretly informed him. This person must be Xia Shibin. Thinking of this, Xiaoma also had a headache, so he could only make a fake move. He seemed to hit Xia Shibin very quickly, but he didn't use much strength. Xia Shibin was shocked when he saw Xiaoma rushing over aggressively, but he knew that Xiaoma had already believed him when they exchanged blows. So the 2 of them fought back and forth, and Yang Jianan was ready to force himself on her again. However, as soon as he took off his underwear, he suddenly thought of a very serious problem. The little bird that had a reaction just now had calmed down again. It was worse than noodles, which made him a little depressed. Damn, it wasn't easy for me to get the feeling just now, but I was scared by this Xiaoma, and I suddenly withered. It's really difficult to get that feeling back now. It couldn't be helped. Even if Yang Jianan went up like this, it wouldn't help. He was so anxious that he gritted his teeth, turned around, and began to masturbate himself to get the feeling. Su Chuxia looked at Yang Jianan's actions and suddenly felt a little disgusted, but she was very surprised. This guy didn't come over to molest me, but he did it there. What kind of train of thought is this? As for Tian Wangshuo, she was also a little puzzled. Did Yang Jianan come here just to disgust them and show them how to masturbate himself? Although this kind of scene of masturbating in front of Xiao Chen and the other 2 women was a little strange, it gave Yang Jianan a different kind of perverted excitement, making him feel that he was doing something amazing. Unexpectedly, there was really a little reaction. Yang Jianan was suddenly overjoyed and he quickly worked harder. Tian Wangshuo knew that he couldn't escape. Looking at Yang Jianan's wretched behavior, he thought of a solution in his heart. After thinking about it, he suddenly saw a decorative flute on the wall of the hotel. Tian Wangshuo tiptoed over and took the flute down. Yang Jianan heard the sound and glanced at it. He found that Tian Wangshuo went to play with the flute, but he didn't care. As long as he didn't run away, it was fine. He was at a critical moment and he didn't have the mind to care so much. Haha, it's almost done. Su Chuxia, I'm coming soon. I'm going to make you suffer. Yang Jianan smiled wickedly. But in the next moment, Yang Jianan only felt a sharp pain coming from his anus. It was so painful that he screamed. He almost jumped up, and the next moment he directly knelt on the ground. It turned out that Tian Wangshuo had directly stabbed the flute in the middle of Yang Jianan's buttocks. Just now there was a little reaction, but under this severe pain Yang Jianan completely lost that kind of thought. He was in so much pain on the ground that he wanted to die. At this time, Xia Shibin also screamed and fell to the ground with a plop. He pretended to be defeated and directly fainted. At this time, Xiaoma could also free himself to deal with Yang Jianan. He was also afraid that Yang Jianan would be forced to do something desperate after being played by Tian Wangshuo. Wah, I'm going to kill you. Yang Jianan came back to his senses. He endured the pain and stood up from the ground. His eyes were red as he stared at Tian Wangshuo, who was not far away. Today either you die or I live. Chuxia, you see, it's really scary to be uneducated. Isn't it the same if I die or if he lives? Tian Wangshu said to Su Chuxia. Su Chuxia was a little worried. Even though Tian Suruan's actions were a little rash, Su Chuxia could understand. Yang Jianan was a psycho and he might come after her next. Tian Suruan had basically saved her life. However, if that happened, Tian Wangshu would definitely be used as a punching bag. Sure enough, Yang Jianan stood up and approached Tian Wangshu step by step. There was a cruel smile on the corner of his mouth and it was very cold. However, at this time the door was kicked open. It was Xiaoqin who was a step late. Yang Jianan was shocked again. He turned to look at the door and saw Xiaoqin. He couldn't help but be amused. Isn't this Xiaoqin the White Fox hero? Why are you here? Don't you want to be a coward anymore? I thought you sent a demonic underling and didn't dare to come looking for trouble. Since you're here today, don't leave. I'll help you cripple first, then I'll let you watch me play with your woman in front of you. Who are you? Xiaoqin acted as if he didn't know Yang Jianan. He turned to look at an little demon. Little demon, who is this? Why does he have a tail? Could he be the legendary little dragon man? Tian Wangshu was instantly amused. The flute that she had inserted into Yang Jianan's butt was still there. Didn't Yang Jianan seem to have a tail? Xia Shibin also found it a little funny, but he didn't dare to laugh. He could only hold it in and pretend to be dead. Don't talk so much. You're courting death. The aura on Yang Jianan's body skyrocketed, but he was actually a little nervous. He didn't bring a gun today. It was difficult to take down Xiaoqin with just his own strength. This was because when he was dealing with an little demon, he had already revealed the strength of a great perfection 10th level magician. Once this strength was revealed, there was a time limit and it would become weaker and weaker. He had to inject the Fire Wolf potion again. Otherwise he was definitely not Xiaoqin's opponent. Fire Wolf Divine Fist. Yang Jianan knew that he didn't have much time, so he could only end the battle quickly. A Fire Wolf Divine Fist struck at Xiaoqin. Master, I'm coming. And little demon directly blocked in front of Yang Jianan with a whoosh, and directly dissolved Yang Jianan's fist. Although Yang Jianan seemed to have hit cotton, it also eased the force. It was no longer a threat to Xiaoqin. Xiaoqin was a little puzzled. This little demon could actually block the full blow of Yang Jianan, a great perfection 10th level magician? Okay, and little demon, you block it for me. Xiaoqin didn't have time to think about the reason behind it. He was just overjoyed. In this way he didn't have to be afraid of Yang Jianan's kidneys. He directly blocked in front of an little demon, and he would sneak attack from behind. Yang Jianan's expression changed. He knew that he wouldn't be able to do anything to Xiaoqin in this way. If this dragged on for too long, his strength would deteriorate. Yang Jianan subconsciously frowned and quickly rushed to the window of the room. He pushed the window open and leaped out. It was exactly the same as when Xiaoqin had escaped. However, not long after, the person who was fleeing in a sorry state was replaced by him. The affairs of the world were truly unpredictable. Chapter 677. Xia Shibin's heart turned cold. Motherf asterisk her, you left just like that. You didn't even care about me. If I wasn't a mole, I would have been killed by Xiaoqin. You're so wicked. Smoke is coming out of your mouth. Xiaoqin looked at Yang Jianan's back and didn't chase after him. It wasn't that he couldn't catch up, but he didn't have absolute confidence in killing Yang Jianan. Of course, he didn't know that Yang Jianan's strength was actually fake. Chuxia Sour, I'm really sorry. I didn't expect you to look for me, so I didn't tell you that I left the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Xiaoqin looked at Su Chuxia and Tian Sour apologetically. Fortunately, nothing happened. Otherwise he would feel guilty. Ah, it's really you. You're Xiao Chang. When Su Chuxia saw Xiaoqin, although he was different from the previous Xiao Chang, the first impression he gave her was that this person was Xiao Chang. Yes. As Xiaoqin spoke, he transformed into Xiao Chang's appearance. He smiled and returned to Xiaoqin's appearance. He said, "This is my original appearance. Xiao Chang is just a disguise." How did you do it? You can change your face without doing anything? Tian Sour was very surprised. You're too powerful, aren't you? Can you teach me? That's right. How can Sister Sour's boyfriend not be powerful? Xiaoqin smiled and said, however, this can't be taught in a short time. Let's talk about it in the future. All right. Tian Sour wasn't the kind of person who could learn patiently. Once she heard it, she didn't ask any more. She just said, fortunately you arrived in time. Otherwise, your Sister Sour would have become someone else's. Damn, I thought you guys wouldn't come looking for me. Who would have thought? Xiaoqin smiled bitterly. You didn't tell us your new number and you're not on Weixin. We can't contact you. You're not carrying out any missions. Why don't you come and play with us? Tian Sour glared at Xiaoqin with dissatisfaction. What kind of boyfriend are you? You've already confessed to Sister Sour. You should be accompanying Sister Sour. Don't tell me you've fallen in love with someone else? As for that Weixin, I've already said that she registered temporarily during a mission. Of course, I won't need to use it when I get back. Xiaoqin explained. As for the phone number, I didn't expect Yang Jianan to not die and come back, so I took the number back. Xiaoqin didn't respond to Tian Suruan's last sentence. He didn't know how to respond to it, so he just let it pass. Really, let's hurry up and leave this place. That Yang Jianan will definitely not let this matter rest. What if he brings people over? Tian Shosho was somewhat worried. Xiaoqin's heart skipped a beat. Indeed, Yang Jianan wouldn't just let this go. He hesitated for a moment and looked at Xia Shibin, who had already climbed up from the ground. He asked, did Yang Jianan go back to get people? I don't know. Most likely. Let's hurry up and leave. Xia Shibin said, when the time comes, just tell him that I'm being held hostage by you. My car is downstairs. Xiaoqin nodded. Su Chuxia and Tian Shosho were both wearing thermal underwear. They didn't change into their hotel pajamas. The weather was very cold, so Yang Jianan didn't see any advantage. The two of them quickly put on their clothes and followed Xiaoqin and Xia Shibin downstairs to the hotel's parking lot. Yang Jianan was quite unlucky. Although he knew that his car was in the underground parking lot, he didn't go back to get it. Don't forget that he was still running naked. There were security guards in the parking lot. It would be embarrassing if he went there. He could only run as fast as he could, planning to return to the dormitory first. Fortunately, it was nighttime and no one saw them. However, he already hated Xiaoqin to the core. He wanted to get rid of him as soon as possible. After getting in the car, Xiaoqin finally had the time to ask Su Chuxia and Tian Shosho, it's Chinese New Year. Why are you guys looking for me? You're not just here to play with me, right? Of course not. Chuxia's new house is haunted. Tian Shosho said, aren't you from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau? I was thinking of asking you to help me catch the ghost, so I made a call. That Yang Jianan agreed immediately and asked us to go find him. Tian Wangsho explained the purpose of his visit and the haunting situation in his house. Gosh, your vigilance is really low. Xiaoqin didn't know what to say. Who told you to tell us that your name is Yang Jianan? Tian Shosho was a little dissatisfied. We almost got into trouble because of this. You have to make it up to me and Chuxia. How can I make it up to you? Xiaoqin thought about it. This incident was indeed caused by his negligence. Continue to be our bodyguard. Tian Shosho said. That haunted house is too scary. This? Xiaoqin suddenly had a headache. Being a bodyguard. I have my own things to do. I can't stay in Lan City for a long time. You don't have to stay for a long time. As long as it's not haunted, you can leave. From Tian Shosho's point of view, the haunted house wasn't that easy to solve. If he stayed here, he might settle down permanently. Alright, but it's Chinese New Year now. I can't leave home. Let's wait until after Chinese New Year. I'll go find you guys. Xiaoqin thought about it and agreed. Whether it was to make it up to them or to simply ask for help from a friend, Xiaoqin couldn't just ignore it. What exactly is the haunted house? Xiaoqin had the ghost talisman devil head and met some mean and evil cultivators. Naturally, he didn't believe in the haunted house. If there were really ghosts, they would stay in hell. Why would they appear here? Perhaps there was an evil cultivator causing trouble here. In order to achieve a certain goal, he deliberately scared people and made them afraid. However, since this or evil cultivator didn't kill anyone, it wasn't a heinous crime. Xiaoqin planned to meet him after the Chinese New Year. Then where are we going during Chinese New Year? Tian Shosho didn't dare to go back. How about this, I'll let in Little Demon accompany you guys back first. He himself is something like a ghost. If you encounter other ghosts, he can protect you. Even if the other party isn't a ghost and is pretending to be a ghost, he can still protect you. Xiaoqin thought about it and said, that's more like it. Tian Shosho was happy when he heard it. This Little Demon looked very powerful. Even Yang Jianan was afraid of him. If they encountered ghosts, he could probably restrain them. It's not safe to stay here for long. Xia Shibin, send them to the airport now and take the plane back tomorrow morning. Xiaoqin was afraid that Yang Jianan would cause more trouble, so it was better to let them leave early. Okay. Xia Shibin drove the car in the direction of the airport. Because of Xia Shibin's special identity, he didn't have to spend much effort to buy 2 tickets for tomorrow morning. It was someone else's refunded ticket, so he took it immediately. Yang Jianan returned to the headquarters dormitory. Fortunately, no one saw his embarrassing state at the moment. The more he thought about it, the more unhappy he became. After thinking about it, he dialed Xia Zhili's number. He felt that Xiao Chen had fooled Xia Zhili for so long, so he should hate Xiao Chen. He wanted to cooperate with Xia Zhili and continue to arrest Xiao Chen at tomorrow's meeting. Although it was Xia Zhili who advocated to cancel the arrest warrant for Xiao Chen, Yang Jianan thought that Xia Zhili didn't listen to him, so Xia Zhili deliberately discussed him. Xia Zhili let out a long roar and walked out of the practice room. Just as he was about to take a hot shower, his phone rang. He picked it up and saw that it was Yang Jianan. This was really a rare guest. Yang Jianan hadn't called him since he returned. Deputy Bureau Chief Yang, it's so late. What's the matter? Xia Zhili picked up the phone indifferently with a businesslike attitude. Deputy Bureau Chief Xia, it's like this. Previously, my strength improved because of hatred. I was a little muddle-headed. I might have been a little disrespectful to you. Please don't take it to heart. Yang Jianan could only compromise temporarily in order to cooperate. Xia Zhili didn't believe that Yang Jianan had really changed. A dog can't stop eating sh*t. This guy was like a weasel paying respects to a chicken. I'm afraid he was hiding something. Oh, Deputy Bureau Chief Yang is now on the same level as me. You don't need to explain anything to me. Haha, even so, Deputy Bureau Chief Xia was my guide before. Now that I'm powerful, I naturally can't forget Deputy Bureau Chief Xia. I want to cooperate with Deputy Bureau Chief Xia. What do you think? Yang Jianan didn't hear the sarcasm in Xia Zhili's words. He thought that Xia Zhili knew his position. Since he knew that the two of them were on the same level, it was easy. Xia Zhili wanted to curse. There really was something. However, he still said indifferently, what cooperation? Deputy Bureau Chief Yang, tell me. It's like this. Xiao Chen just actually insulted me. I'm going to propose at tomorrow's meeting to put Xiao Chen on the wanted list again. I hope Deputy Bureau Chief Xia will support me. Yang Jianan said. What? Xiao Chen is back? Xia Zhili was stunned. He suddenly felt a little surprised. Isn't your strength much higher than Xiao Chen's? Why would he insult you? Sigh, it's hard to explain. Yang Jianan rolled his eyes and came up with an excuse. Isn't it because Xiao Chen had 2 mistresses in Lan City previously? They were Su Chuxia and Tian Soran, whom he was protecting during the mission. These 2 people came to play with me. I thought that I restored my identity as Yang Jianan. Although I wasn't the one who completed the mission, if I said too much, the Supernatural Investigation Bureau would lose face in the eyes of outsiders. Letting someone impersonate me for so long is really... And then? Xia Zhili didn't want to listen to his explanation. He just wanted to know what happened. Then they came and wanted to sleep with me. I thought they had slept with Xiao Chen before, so I couldn't reject them. So... Yang Jianan smiled bitterly. Just as I was about to go into battle, Xiao Chen appeared and ambushed me. I had no choice but to come back first. Xia Zhili sneered in his heart. You put it in a dignified manner, but you just wanted to play with Xiao Chen's woman. In the end, you were discovered by Xiao Chen, so they fought. You still want to ask me for help with such a **t matter? Chapter 678. Oh, then what do you want? Xia Zhili asked faintly. He now hated Yang Jianan more and more. Tomorrow, as long as Deputy Bureau Chief Xia supports me, I will also support Deputy Bureau Chief Xia in other matters in the future as an exchange. How about it? Yang Jianan promised. **CK your mother. Xia Zhili almost cursed. Previously you were my subordinate. I took care of you everywhere. Not only are you not grateful, you even want to exchange conditions with me. In the end it was still 1 for 1. Do you think I am stupid? What if I don't support? Xia Zhili changed the topic. He really had no interest in talking nonsense with Yang Jianan. Don't support? Haha, Deputy Bureau Chief Xia, you should know that if I go to form an alliance with Song Billion, he should be very happy, right? Yang Jianan said faintly, at that time, you will be in a difficult position. Be careful that you won't be able to be the Deputy Bureau Chief. You? Xia Zhili was really angry this time. He said angrily, Song Huawu was injured by you, And you still want to form an alliance with Song Billion? Are you dreaming, Yang Jianan? There is no eternal enemy. I just need to apologize and promise Song Billion to marry Song Huo. Then won't he form an alliance with me? Yang Jianan underestimated Song Huo's true identity. He felt that with his current status, it was easy to marry Song Huo. Xia Zhili took a deep breath and finally asked, "Then how do you want to cooperate?" "It's very simple. Restore Xiao Chen's wanted order, and then cancel the punishment for Xia Shibin. With both of our support, it shouldn't be too difficult, right?" Yang Jianan suggested. "Let me think." Xia Zhili hesitated for a moment and said, "Okay, then I will wait for your call." Yang Jianan said with a smile, "However, if I fall asleep later, I won't be able to hear it. When I go to Song Billion in a daze tomorrow morning, I won't be able to control myself." "Wait for my call," Xia Zhili said coldly. After calming down for a moment, Xia Zhili dialed Xiao Chen's phone. "Xiao Chen, you're back?" Xia Zhili asked. "Yes, Deputy Director Xia. Something happened here. Su Chuxia and Tian Suruan came looking for me, and they found Yang Jianan." Xiao Chen didn't finish his sentence. He believed that Xia Zhili already had a basic understanding of the situation. "Yes, I understand. Don't be in a hurry to leave," Xia Zhili said. Xiao Chen was stunned, but he still said, "Okay, wait for me to send them back, then I will visit Deputy Director Xia. Wait for my call." Xia Zhili hung up the phone, took a deep breath, and dialed Yang Jianan's number. "Deputy Bureau Chief Yang, come over now. I'll wait for you at home." "Ah, good, a wise man submits to circumstances. Deputy Director Xia, I'll go over now." Yang Jianan laughed. He was very happy that Xia Zhili had made a decision in such a short time. This meant that Xia Zhili was afraid, so he quickly compromised. "Okay, I'll wait for you," Xia Zhili said. Because the dormitory area of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau wasn't far away, Yang Jianan quickly arrived at Xia Zhili's residence. Each of them had their own villa. It wasn't because they lived luxuriously, but because they were all cultivators. They needed their own territory to cultivate, and they didn't want to be disturbed when they cultivated. That was why they built so many villas. Deputy Bureau Chief Xia. Yang Jianan looked at Xia Zhili's dark expression and smiled. He didn't care what Xia Zhili was feeling. His ambition had reached a certain level. In his opinion, Ling Tian was about to retire. The position of Deputy Bureau Chief was going to be his sooner or later. When that time came, Xia Zhili would be his subordinate. "Come in, Deputy Bureau Chief Yang." Xia Zhili nodded and made a gesture to invite him in. However, his attitude was very cold. Yang Jianan didn't mind. He didn't even change his shoes. He walked into Xia Zhili's living room and sat on the sofa. He picked up a drink from the coffee table and started drinking. "Xia." Yang Jianan only managed to say one word before his eyes widened. He didn't expect Xia Zhili to make a move on him. A killing move was coming at him, causing Yang Jianan's heart to skip a beat. He hurriedly threw down the can in his hand and leaped backwards. "Xia Zhili, are you crazy?" "I'm not crazy," Xia Zhili said calmly. "You're the one who's crazy. Let me send you off to hell," Xia Zhili said, but his hands didn't stop. He sent a punch towards Yang Jianan's face. "CK old thing, are you crazy?" Yang Jianan was also angry. He snorted coldly. "Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Fire Wolf God Fist." Xia Zhili didn't dodge or dodge. Instead, he sent a punch forward. The two fists collided, creating a loud bang. Of course, outside the soundproof villa, it was very hard to hear. Even if someone heard it, they wouldn't think much of it. They would only think that someone was training. Boom! Yang Jianan was sent flying and slammed heavily into the wall. Xia Zhili also spat out a mouthful of blood. He took a few steps back before he managed to dissipate the force of Yang Jianan's punch. "Old thing, you're actually a martial general?" Yang Jianan's eyes widened in disbelief. After he returned home, he had been injected with the Fire Wolf medicine. His condition and strength were at their peak. He didn't expect Xia Zhili to. That's right. Although Xia Zhili didn't seem to have any major problems on the surface, he had actually suffered serious internal injuries. If he hadn't just broken through to the martial general realm and was at the same level as Yang Jianan, he wouldn't have been Yang Jianan's match. This guy's strength was actually stronger than someone at the same level. This surprised Xia Zhili. At the same time, he was glad that he hadn't acted rashly before. "You dare kill me?" "What?" Yang Jianan was somewhat unwilling. He could feel the life force in his body slipping away rapidly. He didn't die immediately because the fire wolf medicine hadn't lost its effect yet. It was still working in his body, allowing his body to maintain a tyrannical state. That was why he was barely hanging on. Xiao Chen's extraterrestrial ink meteorite, give it to me. Xia Zhili laughed heartily. In my eyes you're a traitor who only benefits him. In my eyes Xiao Chen is a friend. You actually... Yang Jianan's body trembled, and he died with his eyes wide open. Xia Zhili took a deep breath and slowly sat on the sofa. He adjusted his breathing for a while before he heaved a sigh of relief. Although he couldn't make a full recovery immediately, it wasn't a big deal. At the very least his life wouldn't be in danger. Xia Zhili picked up his phone and dialed Xiao Chen's number again. Where are you? I just sent Su Chuxia and Tian Yoshi through the airport security. I'm on my way back with Xia Shibin. Shall I visit you now? Xiao Chen said. Okay. You guys can come over now. Xia Zhili hung up after he finished speaking. Meh. Go where? Xiao Chen was stunned. He looked at Xia Shibin. Do you know where Deputy Director Xia's house is? I do. Yang Jianan brought me there before. Shall we go now? But, what if Yang Jianan comes looking for us? Xia Shibin was worried. I don't think so. Xia Zhili can't betray us. Xiao Chen shook his head. He had high hopes for Xia Zhili. Although he was a snobbish person, he wasn't a bad person. Xia Shibin nodded. He drove Xiao Chen to the dormitory area of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau and stopped in front of Xia Zhili's villa. The two of them came to the villa and pressed the doorbell. However, no one answered. Just as the two of them were confused, Xia Zhili's weak voice came from inside. The door isn't locked. Come in. It turned out that when Yang Jianan came, Xia Zhili didn't lock the door. With the security of this area, there shouldn't be any thieves. The reason why Xiao Chen and Xiao Chen could enter was because the car belonged to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau and Xia Shibin showed his identification. The two of them were puzzled. They pushed the door open and saw Xia Zhili resting on the sofa. His chest was covered in blood. Not far away there was a corpse on the ground. It was Yang Jianan. Xiao Chen was shocked. Deputy Chief Xia, what's going on? Are you injured? Yes. I didn't expect Yang Jianan to be so capable. If I hadn't broken through to the Marshal General level, I would have fallen. Xia Zhili sighed. Xiao Chen, you're still Yang Jianan tomorrow. I killed that bastard. However, I can't restore your identity for now. When you've established yourself, I'll think of a way to restore your identity. Xiao Chen suddenly felt a surge of emotion in his heart. Although he had treated Xia Zhili well, not only helping him earn merits, but also giving him a piece of the Outer Star Ink meteorite, these were basically what he should have done after concealing his identity. However, Xia Zhili had actually killed Yang Jianan for him. Of course, Xia Zhili had his own reasons for doing this, but the main reason was still for Xiao Chen. Therefore, Xiao Chen remembered this kindness in his heart. In the future, if Xia Zhili needed anything, he would do his best to help. Deputy Director Xia, thank you. Xiao Chen took a deep breath and said heavily. It's nothing. This guy acted tough in front of me as soon as he came back. He didn't put me in his eyes at all. I wanted to kill him for a long time. However, I wasn't a marshal general before, so I didn't have absolute confidence. So, I temporarily endured it. Now it seems that I endured it. Xia Zhili sighed. You two deal with the corpse. Xia Shibin, you're considered one of us now. From now on, follow Xiao Chen. Yes, father. Xia Shibin was also very excited. Yang Jianan, that idiot, was finally dead. If he didn't die, he would go crazy. He always made him do this and that, and the key was that he was the scapegoat when something happened. If Yang Jianan didn't die, sooner or later Xia Shibin would die. For the people of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, getting rid of a corpse without anyone knowing was a piece of cake. Xia Shibin could do it easily. However, when he was about to move the corpse into the car, Xiao Chen waved his hand and said, "Wait." Chapter 679. Ah. Xia Shibin was surprised. What's wrong, brother Xiao? It's nothing, wait for me. Xiao Chen said as he took Yang Jianan's corpse to the MPV alone. Then he asked the Elder Heaven Ancestor, Elder Heaven Ancestor, why did you ask me to wait? In fact, it was not Xiao Chen who wanted to stop Xia Shibin, but the Elder Heaven Ancestor suddenly reminded Xiao Chen to leave the corpse behind. You can transform into his appearance, but with your current strength you can't really change your appearance. It's just an external influence, but it's ineffective against those high-tech monitoring devices. The Elder Heaven Ancestor said slowly, this way it's easy to be exposed but you have a compromise. What is it? Xiaochen was slightly surprised. Peel off the skin of Yang Jiannan's face, put it on your face and use your Yuan Qi to nourish it. This will ensure the vitality of the skin. After wearing it, it will be lifelike and there won't be any jerkiness. Compared to other people's skin masks, yours is more realistic. The Elder Heaven Ancestor said, it's just a bit cruel. I didn't tell you before because there's no need, and there's no condition. Now that the corpse is here you can take his face for yourself. There's such a method. Xiaochen was surprised, but he didn't feel the slightest bit of pity because Yang Jiannan deserved to die. Even if he were to dismember his body into 1,000 pieces, it wouldn't be excessive, let alone just cutting off a layer of skin. Xiaochen didn't say anything, he directly pulled out his flying sword and easily cut off the skin of Yang Jiannan's face. The blood on it was evaporated by Yuan Qi, turning into nothing. He put it on his face and sure enough Xiaochen didn't feel any discomfort. Instead he felt as if it was his own face under the effect of Yuan Qi, it instantly fused into one. Not bad. Xiaochen touched his face with satisfaction. It seemed that even the seams were perfectly fused. This was really a good thing. A ball of true Samadhi fire was thrown out. What surprised Xiaochen was that Yang Jiannan's corpse was instantly incinerated by the true Samadhi fire. Previously, even the underworld fire had no effect on him. But after he died, the true Samadhi fire could easily extinguish him. Xia Shibin shook his head and turned to get out of the car. However, Xiaochen's appearance shocked Xia Shibin. Xia Shibin screamed and stared at Xiaochen in horror. Yang Jiannan, how are you alive? It's me. Xiaochen said, I'm naturally going to turn into Yang Jiannan's appearance. Xiaochen didn't say anything about being thick-skinned, because Xia Shibin wouldn't understand even if he did. Oh. Xia Shibin suddenly breathed a sigh of relief and nodded. Sure enough, he saw that Xiaochen was wearing the same clothes as before. He couldn't help but smile bitterly. That's true. What about Yang Jiannan's corpse? I burned it. It's safer this way. Xiaochen said. That's right. Xia Shibin thought that Xiaochen didn't let him get in the car because he was afraid of burning him. He didn't think much and said, then let's go back. Deputy Bureau Chief Xia seems to be injured. Xiaochen nodded and walked into the villa with Xia Shibin. Xia Zhili was still sitting on the sofa, maintaining the previous posture without moving. When he saw Xiaochen's appearance he was also stunned, but he quickly reacted and nodded. Not bad. In the future you should show this appearance in front of us. Is it settled? It's burned. Xiaochen walked over quickly. Deputy Bureau Chief Xia, are you injured? Let me help you take a look. It's okay. I won't die. I just need to rest for a while. Xia Zhili shook his head. Xiaochen smiled slightly and reached out to hold Xia Zhili's pulse. Xia Zhili was suddenly shocked. Just as he wanted to say something, he felt a warm feeling flowing into his meridians, quickly healing his injuries. This change made him even more shocked. Previously he was shocked because he was worried. Now he was shocked because he was surprised. Xiaochen actually had this kind of ability? Although Xia Shibin didn't know what happened, he didn't want to disturb him. He just stayed by the side. After about an hour, Xiaochen finished healing his wounds. He loosened his hands and pretended to be exhausted as he laid down on the side. Xia Zhili, on the other hand, was glowing. He felt that all the injuries in his body had healed. Good. Xia Zhili said good 3 times. No one knew if he was talking about Xiaochen or his own injuries. Xiaochen, you are really a person who is worthy of my trust and cooperation. Xia Zhili may be a bit snobbish, but I will never let people who treat me sincerely down. I have seen what you have done during this time. You are 100,000 times stronger than Yang Jiannan. Deputy Bureau Chief Xia, I am already very grateful that you can help me solve this trouble. Xiaochen was indeed very grateful to Xia Zhili. Even if he could kill Yang Jiannan himself without Xia Zhili's cover and help, I am afraid that the matter would be exposed sooner or later. But now it was different. As long as Xia Zhili didn't say anything, probably no one in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau would find out for the time being. Even if they found out, there would be no evidence. Let's not talk about this. We are in the same boat in the future. Xia Zhili said, well, it's almost time. Let's go to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau together. Today is a routine meeting. Okay. Xiaochen nodded and said, but I have to change my clothes and be more formal. Hehe, that is also true. Xia Zhili smiled and said, I also want to take a bath. Let's go together. Together? Xiao Chen's face suddenly became a little strange. Xia Zhili is not good in that aspect. Will he start to be a submissive? As soon as this thought came out, Xiao Chen suddenly had a cold sweat. Haha, I have several bathrooms in this villa. What are you thinking about? Xia Zhili couldn't help but shake his head. He patted Xiao Chen and said, let's go. Don't dawdle. Xia Shibin, go to Yang Jiannan's house and get a few clothes. Yes. Xia Shibin was Yang Jiannan's confidant. He was often ordered to do this and that. Naturally, he had the key to his house. At this moment, it was convenient. After packing up and putting on new clothes, the three of them took a business car to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Everyone saw Yang Jiannan and Xia Zhili walking together again. They were a little surprised about this matter, but everyone also understood that there was no eternal enemy. No one knew what kind of consensus they had in secret. Song Billion also saw this scene from afar. He couldn't help but frown. This Yang Jiannan finally saw the situation clearly. Is he ready to reunite with Xia Zhili? After hesitating for a moment, Song Billion walked over and greeted, isn't this Deputy Bureau Chief Yang? What? In today's meeting, do you plan to issue a wanted order for Xiao Qin? Previously, Yang Jiannan had the intention to issue a wanted order for Xiao Qin again. Song Billion naturally knew it because Yang Jiannan had more or less hinted at it in the previous meeting, but it didn't get everyone's approval. Today, Yang Jiannan and Xia Zhili walked together again, so Song Billion wanted to test the situation to see if they had reached a consensus. Issue a wanted order for Xiao Qin? Why is he wanted? Isn't he fine now? Song Billion, is there something wrong with your brain? Xiao Qin said coldly. That expression, that tone, was exactly the same as the pretentious Yang Jiannan from before, who didn't know how to act like a spoiled brat. In the past, Xiao Qin was the best at it. At this moment, it was easy and fun for him to act like that. Song Billion snorted coldly. Since he couldn't get an answer, he turned around and left. Very quickly, everyone entered the meeting room. It was still the Deputy Bureau Chief of Ling Tian who presided over the meeting. Xia Zhili, Song Billion, Yang Jiannan, and Deputy Bureau Chief Zhang were present. All right, some of the work arrangements for the holiday period are still progressing in an orderly manner. Nothing unexpected happened. This is good news. Ling Tian reported. Next, does anyone have any suggestions? I suggest that we stop the investigation on Xia Shibin. This is a misunderstanding. Since Xiao Qin is fine, then let's end it. I won't pursue the matter of Xiao Qin pretending to be me anymore. Xiao Qin said directly. I agree. Before Song Billion could say anything, Xia Zhili said directly. Song Billion was stunned. He wanted to retort, but he couldn't figure out the intentions of these two people. Didn't Yang Jiannan hate Xiao Qin to the bone? Why did he suddenly give up on the idea of a wanted criminal? Could it be that he compromised with Xia Zhili in exchange for Xia Shibin's safety? However, Yang Jiannan didn't seem like someone who cared about his subordinates. Furthermore, even if he didn't pursue the matter of Xiao Qin, what good would it do to Xia Zhili? In the past, he argued with Yang Jiannan because he couldn't stand him. In fact, he even supported Xia Zhili's decision. Xiao Qin and Xia Zhili didn't have much of a relationship. The two of them wouldn't have any interactions in the future. Song Billion didn't think that Yang Jiannan would be able to gain Xia Zhili's support just by compromising on this matter. Thinking up to this point, Song Billion didn't say anything rashly. If he spoke up now and Xia Zhili brought up something in the future, he wouldn't be able to continue rejecting him. Could it be that they did this on purpose? First, he released a meaningless matter for everyone to discuss, and then he made a big move? Thinking up to this point, Song Billion calmly said, no problem, I support. From the way he saw it, whether or not they stopped the investigation on Xia Shibin had nothing to do with him. As for Xiao Qin, it had nothing to do with him at all. Thus, he casually expressed his support. Okay, since all three of us are in favor, it's 3-2. It doesn't matter how Vice Bureau Chief Zhang and I vote. This matter is decided. Ling Tian nodded his head and made the final decision. Is there anything else? I don't have anything else. Xiao Qin shook his head. I don't have anything else either. Xia Zhili said. Chem? Song Billion thought that Xia Zhili would propose something beneficial to him, but he didn't expect that he didn't. How was this possible? Then why did he support Yang Jiannan? This didn't make sense. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.